Chapter 1 Space Domain. Within the Qinglin Universe Kingdom, Aurora Star Region, inside a virtual training ground rented by the Azure Scale Clan. Qingyu. Is he crazy? He actually dared to challenge Big Brother Qingliao. A young Azure Scale Clan disciple's eyes, covered in fine blue scales, widened, his voice filled with disbelief. Astral rank Stage 6 against Stage 9 peak. There are better ways to seek a beating. The person next to him scoffed and shook his head. Big Brother Qingliao's ninefold rock smash, combined with his brute strength means even universe-ranked deacons have to be careful. Did this kid Qingyu, who's usually so quiet, eat the wrong medicine today? In the center of the arena, the two confronting figures had a huge difference in size. Qingliao was nearly 4 meters tall, his muscles rippling like alloy blocks, covered in dark blue, hard scales, and exuding a fierce, violent, earthy yellow primal force fluctuation. He was the undisputed number 1 among the younger generation of the Azure Scale Clan, ranked first on the Qinglin Clan list, and widely recognized as the most promising genius to break through to the territory lord rank. In contrast, Qingyu, standing opposite him, appeared slightly slender among the Azure Scale Clan, about half a meter shorter than Qingliao, approximately 3.5 meters tall, wearing a simple black training suit. The rhomboid blue scale on his forehead was particularly deep and pure in color. His face was serene, his eyes as still as an ancient well. This excessive calm, under the oppressive, violent aura of Qingliao, seemed particularly glaring, attracting even more puzzled and mocking gazes. Qingyu. Don't think a little cleverness can make you disregard ranks. Qingliao's roar was like rolling thunder, causing ripples in the energy shield, carrying the fury and humiliation of being challenged by a lower rank. If you dare, take one punch from me. Before he finished speaking, Qingliao's massive body suddenly stepped forward. Boom! The specially made alloy ground immediately caved in, forming a deep pit. He clenched both fists and, without any fancy moves, slammed them towards Qingyu's face. Qingyu did not retreat, nor did he even move his feet. He simply raised his right hand calmly, and a palm-sized, deep cyan gold metal disc quietly floated, Qingyu's psychic weapon, arc light. Just as Qingliao's fist was less than 10 meters from Qingyu's face, a silver glint suddenly lit up in Qingyu's calm eyes. Arc light instantly transformed into 1081 arc-shaped blades, as thin as willow leaves, with cyan gold cold light flowing along their edges. There was no earth-shattering commotion, only a subtle, scalp-tingling hum. Chirp, 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 chirp. Qingliao's sneering face suddenly froze, his pupils instantly shrinking to pinpricks. A short, extremely suppressed groan of pain squeezed from his throat. Hundreds of fine bloodlines erupted out of nowhere on his body, which was covered in thick scales and could withstand the impact of a B-grade laser gun. Thud. His massive body lost balance and fell to the cold ground. The entire training ground was deathly silent. You could hear a pin drop. What happened? Qingliao, astral rank Stage 9 peak, the number 1 among the family's younger generation, was instantly killed by one move. It only took one move. No, they didn't even see Qingyu truly make a move. He just raised his hand and released that small disc. Big Brother Qingliao lost. One move, no, half a move. What happened? I didn't see anything clearly. Impossible. Qingyu was only astral rank Stage 6 last month. Even if he hid his strength, it's impossible. In this deathly silent training ground, enveloped by a huge question mark. On the central high platform, in a large chair carved from a single piece of dark meteorite cold crystal, an old man wearing an ancient blue-scaled armor robe and possessing an aura as profound as a mountain, suddenly stood up. He was one of the Qinglin family's only 2 world lord ancestors, Realm Lord Qingming. Over 9 million years had etched deep lines on his face, and his profound eyes had long witnessed the changing tides, yet at this moment, they were filled with an undisguised tempest. Space, domain. It seems he has already gone a long way, astral rank. The other Azure Scale Clan members were not knowledgeable enough to recognize the method Qingyu used. As a world lord powerhouse, although he didn't fully understand space laws, his millions of years of experience allowed him to discern a hint of something. The old man's withered fingers unconsciously tightened on the armrest of the cold crystal chair, his knuckles turning white. This shock even far surpassed the excitement he felt when he broke through to World Lord back then. This talent, this potential, one must know that many universe-rank cultivators do not possess a domain. Moreover, space law belongs to the higher laws, and comprehending a space domain is infinitely more difficult than comprehending a domain of a lower law. Realm Lord Qingming's gaze swept over the clansmen below, who were still in a daze. He took a deep breath, forcibly suppressing the shock in his heart. This matter must not get out. His old and majestic voice, like a great bell, instantly quelled all subtle commotions, clearly echoing throughout the entire training ground. The training is over. Qingyu wins. Everyone, you may disperse. He gave the crowd no more time for discussion or speculation, his gaze, like a tangible force, fixed on the black figure in the arena. Qingyu, come with me. Qingyu bowed slightly, the blue scale on his forehead flashing with a subtle, restrained luster under the soft light, his voice steady and calm, betraying no arrogance of victory. Yes, ancestor. Under the gaze of hundreds of complex eyes, still mixed with shock, bewilderment, awe, and inquiry, he calmly walked through the automatically parting crowd, following Realm Lord Qingming. Qingming did not look back, his aged voice carrying a hint of inquiry. Qingyu, you hide deeply. This disciple would not dare. Qingyu's voice remained calm, showing no emotion. I just felt that before my strength was fully developed, making a fuss would be of no benefit. For the past 10 years, under the guise of orphaned and average talent, and with the terrifying boost of double and quadruple talent, he had devoted all his energy to cultivation, enduring loneliness and pressure, solely to possess the power to uncover the truth. Realm Lord Qingming led Qingyu to an ancient and solemn study. Behind a huge cold crystal desk, Realm Lord Qingming sat down, motioning for Qingyu to sit opposite him. Only the two of them were in the study, and the atmosphere was heavy. Qingming did not discuss Qingyu's strength but brought up another matter, his cloudy yet sharp gaze fixed directly on Qingyu, as if trying to pierce his soul. 10 years ago, on the way to transport Stardust Gold to the Blackhorn Star region, your parents were ambushed by the Bloodfang Star pirates and unfortunately perished. Of the accompanying clansmen, only your clan uncle, Qingyu, escaped with severe injuries. The scale on Qingyu's brow emitted a faint glow, and his hands, hanging at his sides, clenched slightly, but his face remained almost coldly calm, though in the deepest part of his profound eyes, a hint of barely suppressed chill flashed. Chapter 2, Peak Genius Battle. Realm Lord Qingming took in Qingyu's subtle reaction and continued, the family found this matter suspicious back then. The escort route and time were top secret, yet the Bloodfang Star pirates appeared at an overly precise time and location. However, Qingyu was critically injured and near death, and the video records he brought back were chaotic, with very few clues. Furthermore, the family was going through a turbulent period back then, so the investigation was temporarily put on hold. Qingyu's heart rate subtly quickened. Sure enough, something was wrong. The fierce argument his parents had with Qingyu before their departure was definitely not groundless. For 10 years, we never gave up on tracing every single clue, no matter how small. Until a month ago, a Bloodfang Star pirate leader who participated in the ambush back then, escaped, and lived under a false identity, was captured by the family's secret guards. Realm Lord Qingming's aged finger gently tapped the cold crystal desktop, and a light screen projected out. On it was a ferocious-looking alien with a blood-red fang tattoo on his forehead, undergoing some kind of interrogation. The light and shadow were distorted, and his soul fluctuations transmitted fragmented, fear-filled information. It was Qingyu. He provided the route, the time, working from the inside. The target was that batch of Stardust Gold, the value, too great. Qingyu's parents resisted too fiercely, could only silence them. The air in the study seemed to freeze instantly, becoming bone-chilling. Qingyu's body suddenly tensed. Although he had long suspected it, when this bloody truth was presented so directly before his eyes, he couldn't help but erupt with killing intent. Qingyu. He was indeed a transmigrator, and he had only awakened his past life memories 10 years ago. But he was not a heartless person. His parents in this life had been incredibly kind to him, providing meticulous care and guidance. So, after awakening his memories 10 years ago, he still resolved to uncover the truth behind his parents' deaths and seek revenge. After a few heavy breaths, Qingyu slowly and deeply inhaled. The killing intent that was almost about to burst forth was forcibly suppressed back into the deepest part of his heart. According to family rules, how should he be dealt with? A sharp glint flashed in Realm Lord Qingming's eyes. He felt a hint of genuine appreciation for Qingyu's restraint and calmness, maintained even in the face of such immense hatred. Family rules are strict. Those who betray the family, collude with external enemies, and harm their direct kin are unforgivable. All involved will be executed. Their direct bloodline, regardless of gender, age, or youth, will have their family registration revoked and be demoted to mining planet slaves, never to rise again for generations. Ancestor, please deal with Qingyu and his kin according to family rules, Qingyu said calmly at this moment. This outcome still satisfied him. According to family rules. Very good. Realm Lord Qingming secretly nodded in his heart, even feeling a touch of relief. This child's character is as tough as cold iron. Facing such a blood feud, he can still suppress personal anger and prioritize family rules. This shows that he still has a sense of belonging and identification with the family. Realm Lord Qingming gazed into Qingyu's unfathomable eyes, a look of gratification appearing on his face. Good. The family will carry out a public execution in front of all clan members 3 days from now. As for the Bloodfang Star Pirates, the family will continuously send people to hunt them down, and also issue a bounty, until they are all completely eradicated. After discussing this matter, Realm Lord Qingming did not let Qingyu leave. Instead, he changed the subject, his tone carrying a hint of solemnity and expectation. Qingyu, how far have you progressed in your space domain? An invisible force field quietly permeated the area, isolating all internal and external probes. Realm Lord Qingming's gaze was filled with unprecedented solemnity. Qingyu nodded slightly, his voice still steady. This disciple was fortunate enough to make a slight breakthrough yesterday, entering the 9th stage of the space domain. Good. What a slight breakthrough. Realm Lord Qingming slammed the cold crystal desktop, emitting a dull thud, his face filled with unrestrained ecstasy. To step into the 9th stage of the space domain at the astral rank. Such talent, let alone in the entire Aurora Star region, is truly a rarity. He stood up, pacing excitedly in the study for a couple of steps. Even his state of mind, cultivated over more than 9 million years, could not hide his agitation at this moment. Qingyu's heart was calm. In just 10 short years, he had gone from an ordinary planetary level 6 to his current astral rank 6, just one step away from mastering the law of space. And he also knew, though only he knew, that his time domain had also reached the 9th stage, just one step away from entering the threshold of the law. The reason for such a great change was that 10 years ago, when he awakened his memories, he also awakened a cheat, talent stacking. Every time he broke through a major realm, his talent would double. When he was at the planetary level, it was 2 times. When he broke through to the astral rank, his talent became 4 times the original. And through Qingyu's experiments, this talent referred to all-round talent, including law comprehension, original force cultivation, mental power cultivation, secret technique cultivation, and so on. Realm Lord Qingming suddenly stopped, his piercing gaze locking onto Qingyu again. Qingyu, oh Qingyu, you truly have given me a surprise. Realm Lord Qingming's voice carried endless emotion, yet also contained a heavy reality. He no longer paced, but faced Qingyu directly, his tone becoming incredibly solemn and incredibly frank. Old Man and Realm Lord Qingzan have both lived for over 9 million years. A World Lord's lifespan limit is 10 million years. We don't have much time left. These heavy words were like cold meteorites crashing into the study. This was a world of the strong. The maintenance of a clan or power always depended most on super strong individuals. Without the support of super strong individuals, even a medium-level civilized nation would fall apart. The family appears vast, possessing hundreds of star systems, but is actually strong on the outside and weak on the inside. Realm Lord Qingming's voice carried an inexpressible weariness. Quote, "There are only 7 territory lord ranks left, and all of them have exhausted their potential, with no further path. The younger generation." He paused, a hint of undisguised disappointment flashing in his eyes. Quote, "The likes of Qing Liao, their limit, at most, is territory lord rank. If the family does not have a new pillar to stand tall, the day my 2 of us pass away will be the time when wolves surround us, and the Azure Scale clan will fall apart and its territory be carved up." He took a step forward, his powerful world lord aura no longer restrained, pressing down on Qingyu with the heavy expectation of a mountain. "And you, Qingyu, astral rank 6, space domain 9. Your existence is the heavens, last favor to my Azure Scale clan." He then looked at Qingyu with a complex gaze. "With your talent, if only you had been born 1,000 years earlier. No, even 100 years earlier would have been good. The Virtual Universe Corporation's peak genius battle is in 10 years. Your cultivation time is too short. If I'm not mistaken, Qingyu, you are only 29 years old this year, aren't you?" Realm Lord Qingming explained the reason. "That's right, but 10 years should be enough," Qingyu said calmly. Realm Lord Qingming shook his head slightly, his eyes filled with the concern of an elder for a junior and the heavy weight of reality. "Qingyu, do you know what the peak genius battle signifies? It is the ultimate competition bringing together the entire human race, all cosmic nations, billions of star systems, countless races, and trillions of geniuses." Chapter 3, The God of Calamity. He spoke earnestly, attempting to make Qingyu understand the cruelty of competition. "Your talent is excellent, you've reached the 9th level of space domain at the astral rank. But, you've cultivated for too short a time. Your accumulation is too shallow. Those equally talented individuals have cultivated for hundreds, even thousands of years. In just 10 years, how easy do you think it is to catch up to their hundreds, or even thousands, of years of foundation at the astral rank?" He feared that Qingyu might become conceited due to his talent, underestimating the difficulties ahead. As a world lord, he was all too clear about the difficulty of comprehending laws. Domain at the 9th level seemed only a step away from the true threshold of laws, but this step was a chasm. How many astonishingly brilliant individuals were stuck before this threshold for decades, even centuries? Therefore, he did not believe Qingyu could step into the space law threshold within 10 years. "It is already excellent that you can make it into the top 1,000 of the Qinglin Universe Kingdom in this genius battle, make a name for yourself, be noticed by an undying being and taken as a disciple, thus winning honor and a breathing room for our Azure Scale clan." Facing Realm Lord Qingming's earnest, almost cold water pouring, realistic analysis, Qingyu's expression remained as calm as water. Others needed painstaking effort and time to accumulate insights into the profound mysteries of laws. But he now had a 4-fold talent bonus, and his comprehension of laws was advancing by leaps and bounds. He was confident he could step into the law threshold within 10 years. He did not refute Realm Lord Qingming's conservative expectations, nor did he need to prove anything with impassioned words. This disciple will engrave the ancestors' teachings in his heart. The universe is vast, and geniuses are as numerous as clouds. This disciple will naturally guard against arrogance and impetuosity. Realm Lord Qingming looked at Qingyu with satisfaction. With a wave of his hand, a blue light flickered, and a token engraved with the ancient Azure Scale clan emblem instantly appeared before Qingyu. "This is the Qinglin token. With this token, all family resources are yours for the taking. Cultivation techniques and secret arts, all open to you. For these 10 years, you can cultivate with peace of mind, utilizing all the family's resources to maximize your strength." Qingyu respectfully obeys the ancestors' command. "Good, go." 3 days later, using the virtual universe to broadcast to all Azure Scale clan members, and under the shocked gazes of countless clansmen, Qingyu himself and several core confidants involved in his scheme were executed on the spot. His direct bloodline, regardless of age, had their clan registration revoked, slave control chips implanted, and were immediately exiled to the harshest mining planet under the family's control, to serve as slaves for generations. The disposal was complete, and the dust settled. Qingyu did not hesitate. Holding the Qinglin token, he immediately activated the highest level resource allocation. First, he purchased a large quantity of nutrient solutions. In about a month, Qingyu climbed from astral rank level 6 to the peak of level 9. A world lord family would normally never use nutrient solutions to cultivate family disciples, that would be too luxurious. Then, on the virtual network, using the family's 3-star account at the Universe Galaxy Bank, he purchased a 5th-tier mental power weapon, the Flowing Light Disc. This was a flying mental power weapon. Qingyu had previously been flying in a relatively crude manner. With this flowing light disc, his strength would greatly increase. Moreover, the flowing light disc was also an excellent carrier for cultivating the movement secret art, Myriad Thread Stream. Myriad Thread Stream was a widely circulated secret art among various major forces, and the Azure Scale clan also possessed it, which saved him from having to buy it again. Qingyu began to cultivate the Myriad Thread Stream secret art. Myriad Thread Stream had 4 layers in total: Single Thread Stream, 9 Thread Stream, 100 Thread Stream, and Myriad Thread Stream, as well as the legendary highest layer, Teleportation, but this final layer was not circulated externally. Although this spatial secret art was widely known, it was actually very difficult to cultivate. Even the first layer, Single Thread Stream, required one to step into the space law threshold to successfully cultivate it. Qingyu currently only had comprehension of the 9th level of space domain, so Qingyu was not directly cultivating Myriad Thread Stream, but rather conducting basic movement training to prepare for subsequent cultivation. As for offensive secret arts, Qingyu did not cultivate them. He was confident that within 10 years, or even 5 years, he would achieve mastery in both space and time laws. And the mental power offensive secret art most suitable for space and time laws was the Qingyin Ninefold Tribulation, which was ranked alongside the Ninefold Chaotic Heaven Evolution, used by Luo Feng in the original work as one of the 9 great divine weapons of a controller. Also known as the Tribulation Divine Weapon. Given this, Qingyu felt there was no need for him to cultivate other mental power secret arts. It would be better to use that time to strive to step into the law threshold earlier. The family was also attempting to purchase the Qingyin Ninefold Tribulation for him. However, Qingyu did not completely abandon the cultivation of offensive secret arts. Perhaps due to the mysterious influence of his transmigration, his soul power was extraordinarily strong. And his mental power characteristics leaned more towards an illusionist rather than a controller. However, an illusionist's abilities in direct combat were indeed slightly inferior to a controller's. Qingyu neither wanted to give up the direct offensive power of a controller nor waste his innate talent, so he planned to cultivate both the controller and illusionist branches. In the early stage, he would focus on controller cultivation, with the illusionist direction as a supplement. As for how it would develop later, he would consider it in the future. Once his talent stacking multiplier increased, he might be able to advance both simultaneously. Thus, while concentrating on movement training and law comprehension, he also invested some energy in studying illusionist secret arts. Illusionists also had their advantages. Illusion attacks were formless and intangible, serving as a hidden trump card for him. When an opponent assumed he was a controller, a sudden illusion attack might throw them into disarray, allowing him to gain the upper hand. 1 year later, the door to Qingyu's cultivation room was knocked. "Young Master Qingyu, we have news about the Tribulation Divine Weapon." An old voice sounded from outside. "Speak." At the Qinglin auction 3 days from now, all 9 great divine weapons will be auctioned, but there is only one Tribulation divine weapon. In a blink of an eye, 3 days passed, and the Qinglin auction commenced as scheduled. In the virtual universe, on an incredibly elegant floating land, a massive building, the auction hall, was where primary auctions like the Qinglin auction were held every time. The auction hall was packed with people, over 1 million, most of whom were world lords. Qingyu, accompanied by a territory lord rank family executive, stood out. However, although the Qinglin auction's name contained Qinglin, it was actually organized by the Virtual Universe Corporation, and no one dared to cause trouble at the auction house. Qingyu walked to his designated seat and sat down. Soon, the auction began. A red-skinned old man appeared in the center of the auction hall and began to preside over the auction. Without further ado, this session of the Qinglin auction officially begins. The first half of the auction was uneventful, mostly featuring rare minerals, unique life forms, technological creations, or treasures useful to world lords and undying beings. Qingyu closed his eyes, resting, as if detached from the proceedings. Everyone, the fifth batch of auction items is about to begin. You can see the detailed information on your auction token and prepare in advance. Chapter 4 Golden Thread Centipede. Qingyu sat in his seat, his mind stirring slightly. He quickly filtered through the token and locked onto the 9 Great Divine Weapons of the Controller category. The light screen instantly displayed projections of 9 divine weapons, each with a different form. There were the Yan Divine Weapon, the Blazing Divine Weapon, the Cracking Divine Weapon, each representing the pinnacle of the controller lineage. The information showed that for this auction, there were several units in stock for common divine weapons like the Yan Divine Weapon and the Blazing Divine Weapon, but only one of the following. Qingkin Ninefold Tribulation Divine Weapon quantity, 1 unit. Qingyu's gaze instantly focused on the projection of this last divine weapon. The projection showed a longsword, pure white in color and ancient in design. Its blade seemed to be carved from the purest cosmic crystal marrow, with countless fine, translucent structures subtly flowing within, emitting a strange aura that was both incomparably sharp and elusive. He touched the detailed information with his mind. The most mysterious of the 9 great divine weapons for Psyker Master Controllers. It was forged by integrating the 2 supreme origin laws of space and time, and is known as the most difficult divine weapon to control. Its normal form is a longsword, pure white in color, containing 10,081 translucent, cicada-wing thin circular blades, each imbued with profound origin law secret patterns. Space and time, dual supreme laws. Qingyu murmured to himself. This was precisely his most important goal for this trip. While the other 8 divine weapons were powerful, their compatibility with his path of dual law cultivation was far inferior to this unique tribulation divine weapon. The auction officially began. On the token's light screen, the highest bids for the 9 great divine weapons were displayed in real time, constantly fluctuating. Although the bidding for other divine weapons such as the Yan Divine Weapon and the Blazing Divine Weapon was fierce, the increases were relatively stable. According to past transaction records, the final price for the other 8 divine weapons typically ranged around 3 mixed yuan units, not exceeding 4 mixed yuan units. However, the speed and magnitude of the price fluctuations in the Tribulation Divine Weapons bidding column were completely different. Tribulation Divine Weapon current highest bid, 2.5 mixed yuan units. Tribulation Divine Weapon current highest bid, 3.0 mixed yuan units. Tribulation Divine Weapon current highest bid. Almost as soon as the auctioneer announced the start, the price of the Tribulation Divine Weapon soared at an astonishing speed. Its popularity far surpassed that of the other 8 divine weapons. The reason was simple: it was a unique item, involved dual supreme laws, and was widely recognized as the ultimate challenge for a controller. It attracted buyers with true wealth, ambition, and self-proclaimed extraordinary talent. When the price surpassed 6 mixed yuan units and briefly stayed at 6.5 mixed yuan units, the bidding seemed to reach a stalemate, and the rate of numerical fluctuation noticeably slowed down. It's almost time. Qingyu understood. This price was more than double that of the other divine weapons, enough to deter many wealthy competitors who were not absolutely determined to win. His slender fingers steadily tapped on the bidding input area of the token's light screen, directly entering an integer. 8 mixed yuan units. He needed to seal the deal with one strike. Buzz. Qing Yan, the territory lord rank family steward next to Qingyu, watched the mixed yuan units, following the 8, and his eyelids twitched uncontrollably. On the token's light screen, the price of the Tribulation Divine Weapon remained at 8 mixed yuan units for a full 10 seconds. As expected, no new bids appeared by the end of the countdown for the 9 Great Divine Weapons auction. A line of text appeared on the auction token's screen. Congratulations, guest with serial number JLC 15573, you have successfully bid for 1 Tribulation Divine Weapon. Please complete payment and signing in a timely manner, and confirm your delivery address. Qingyu let out a slight breath. 8 mixed yuan, a hefty price, but worth it. This divine weapon, imbued with the mysteries of space-time, would be the cornerstone of his path to the peak. About an hour later, all items in this batch were auctioned off. The auction continued, with various rare treasures appearing in succession. Qingyu spent most of his time with his eyes closed, resting and adjusting his state, until the auction was nearing its end. The information for a finale item refreshed on the token's light screen, causing his closed eyelids to suddenly snap open. The auctioneer's voice echoed throughout the auction hall. The next item up for auction is extraordinarily valuable and exceedingly rare. It is an item related to the law of time, the golden thread centipede carapace. On the main screen in the center of the auction hall, a projection of a deep, dark silver carapace appeared, flowing with mysterious golden secret patterns. Even as a projection, the swirling secret patterns created a sense of disorientation, causing Qingyu to feel a slight tremor. The entire auction hall, with its millions of world lords, instantly erupted in a flurry of discussions. Qingyu opened the detailed information on his token. Golden thread centipede, a unique flesh and blood life form with 10 times the life gene, though not a special life form. However, its carapace naturally contains time origin law secret patterns, making it a darling of the law of time. Studying these secret patterns has a miraculous effect on comprehending the law of time and cultivating time attribute secret techniques. However, the golden thread centipede has a total of 9 main carapaces, and what we are auctioning this time is only the very last one. The other 8 have already been purchased in advance by undying beings, the auctioneer said with a hint of regret. Qingyu's eyes, upon hearing this, instead lit up. If it were a complete set, he could only sigh in admiration, as even an ordinary undying being would likely have to empty their entire fortune to afford it. Only the very last piece is perfect. Qingyu wanted to see if he could buy it. Although he now had the golden finger that doubled his talent, due to his previously ordinary talent, even with a 4-fold boost, it was still not enough. The pinnacle genius battle was only 9 years away. If he could obtain this golden thread centipede carapace, perhaps his comprehension of the law of time would accelerate, and he would have a better chance of joining the core layer of the Virtual Universe Corporation. Bidding starts now. The reserve price is 3 mixed yuan units. The auctioneer announced loudly. Bidding erupted instantly. Its intensity even surpassed that of the previous tribulation divine weapon. Treasures related to the law of time are 100 times rarer than those related to the law of space. The price broke through 9 mixed yuan units in a very short time. Comprehending the law of time is very difficult, and few actually had the confidence to grasp it from this carapace, but there were always those willing to take a gamble. Moreover, there were a few undying beings present who might also be very interested in this carapace. Qingyu also attempted to bid on the token, 10 mixed yuan units. At this moment, the face of steward Qingyan, next to Qingyu, had already turned somewhat pale, and the green scales on his face were trembling. The wealth of an ordinary world lord is generally around 10 mixed yuan units. The Azure Scale Clan, with 2 world lord ancestors presiding and having operated for countless years, had a thicker foundation, but their total assets were only around 100 mixed yuan units. The entire Azure Scale Clan's liquid funds were roughly only a dozen mixed yuan units. Qingyu spent without batting an eye, but Qingyan's heart could barely take it. He suddenly turned to look at Qingyu, his voice carrying a hoarseness he hadn't even noticed. Young master, this price, the money we brought might not be enough. Qingyu's gaze remained fixed on the projection of that carapace. He didn't look at Qingyan, only said in a deep voice. Contact Ancestor Qingming, now. Chapter 5 Introduction to the Law of Time. Deacon Qingyan dared not delay and immediately contacted Realm Lord Qingming in the virtual universe. Old Ancestor, young Master Qingyu, is bidding on a golden thread centipede shell. The price has already exceeded 10 mixed elements. And it's still rising. This is truly too. On the other end of the virtual communication, Realm Lord Qingming fell into a longer silence. This kid, I told you to use family resources to improve your strength, not to spend so lavishly. A moment later, thinking about the current situation of the clan, a look of do-or-die determination appeared on his aged face. I'll transfer another 15 mixed element units to your account. Let Qingyu make his own decision. He then sent an email to Qingyu. Qingyu, I won't ask what you're buying the golden thread centipede shell for. If it helps you, then buy it. At this moment, the price jumped to 10.6 mixed element units. Qingyu's eyes blazed with light. With the 15 mixed element units transferred by Realm Lord Qingming, Qingyu, under the almost stunned gaze of Deacon Qingyan, firmly and powerfully tapped his finger on the bid input area. 12 mixed element units. This price was generally the limit for a world lord, and the increase immediately slowed down, but it still didn't stop, until it rose to over 14 mixed element units. 14 mixed element units, any higher isn't worth it, it's just the very last shell. One by one, the participants shook their heads. If it were the first piece, it would definitely be worth the price, but the last shell also meant that the origin law secret patterns were relatively sparse, making it harder to comprehend the mysteries of time based on it. 15 mixed element units. Qingyu seized the opportunity and entered the price again. After a few seconds, the price on the token remained unchanged. 15 mixed element units. Are there any higher bids? Countdown 10 seconds. 10. 9. 1. Sold. Qingyu also breathed a sigh of relief. If anyone else had bid higher, he probably would have found it difficult to compete. This auction, 8 mixed elements for the Tribulation Divine Weapon, plus 15 mixed elements for this golden thread centipede shell, a total of 23 mixed element units. He had almost spent all the funds the Azure Scale clan could currently mobilize. This wealth was enough to make many World Lord rank powerhouses gasp in awe. Deacon Qingyan's face was pale, his lips trembling, and his voice was a little shaky. Young Master Qingyu, do you still want to buy other things? There's nothing else to buy. I'll trouble the deacon with the subsequent delivery matters. I'll go back to cultivate first. Deacon Qingyan nodded numbly, saying no more. 10 days later, in the Azure Scale clan's secret land, a private cultivation chamber. The heavy alloy door slid open silently, and 2 guards with stable auras respectfully brought in 2 boxes made of special alloy, with energy sealing patterns flowing on their surfaces. Young Master Qingyu, the items you bid on have been delivered. The guards bowed and quickly withdrew. Qingyu's gaze immediately locked onto the 2 boxes. He first walked to the larger box, his fingertip tracing the cold alloy surface, and his mental power activated the opening command. The sealing patterns receded like ripples, and the lid silently sprang open. Buzz. An indescribable sharpness, heaviness, and a strange fluctuation instantly permeated the entire cultivation chamber. It was precisely the Qingkin Ninefold Tribulation. Tribulation Divine Weapon. Qingyu silently recited its name, his eyes burning. The Tribulation Divine Weapon, like the Yan Divine Weapon, has a total of 9 layers. They are Chaotic Dance Silk, Weaving Void Net, Time Scar Cocoon, Sky Blade Wheel, Thousand Entanglement Domain, Upstream Flow, Myriad Tribulations Tide, Time Space Shuttle, and Undying can also be an enemy. Each name represents a terrifying form, integrating space-time and directly pointing to Undying. However, Qingyu only touched it and did not attempt to display the Tribulation Divine Weapon. As the most mysterious and powerful divine weapon among the 9 great divine weapons, the Tribulation Divine Weapon has extremely high requirements for its user. One must have at least one of the time law or space law step into the law threshold to be qualified to attempt to cultivate the first layer, Chaotic Dance Silk. To truly master the first layer and exert its power of space-time integration, one needs to have a preliminary understanding of both higher laws. Qingyu suppressed the tremor in his heart and gently closed the box containing the Tribulation Divine Weapon. He turned to the other, smaller box. When this box was opened, only a palm-sized, irregularly shaped shell fragment lay quietly inside. Its base was a deep dark silver, as if it had solidified the dark backdrop of the universe. And on that dark silver surface, delicate, profound, and seemingly living golden threads were slowly flowing, winding, and interweaving with an indescribable rhythm. This was the time origin law secret pattern. Qingyu's breathing unconsciously lightened. He carefully lifted the shell fragment with his mental power, placing it in his palm, and examined it closely. Qingyu sat cross-legged in the center of the cultivation chamber, immersing his entire mind into the shell fragment in his palm. His mental power flowed along a winding golden thread, and a wondrous sensation arose. When his mental power flowed with the current, it was as if he was riding an invisible accelerating torrent. His mental perception suddenly became extremely acute and swift, and his thoughts turned several times faster. And when he tried to go against the current, or encountered complex nodes where the golden threads converged or turned, his mental power felt as if it had fallen into a viscous mire, becoming sluggish and heavy. Fast, slow, flowing, stagnant, superposition, separation. Qingyu's mind was completely immersed in this peculiar time sensation. The power of the 9 layers of the time domain naturally permeated his surroundings, but in front of these subtle and profound time law secret patterns, Qingyu for the first time clearly felt the clumsiness of his own domain. Time, in silent comprehension, quietly flowed for nearly 2 years. On this day, the cultivation chamber was as silent as ever. Buzz. It was not a physical sound, but an invisible barrier instantly pierced through. Time law, initiation. Qingyu slowly opened his eyes, a sense of understanding a more essential cosmic rule filling his heart. From the peak of the 9th layer of the domain to the initiation of the time law, this barrier, like a chasm, was finally successfully crossed by him after nearly 2 years. Speaking of which, his ability to reach the 9th layer of both space and time, these 2 higher laws, at the astral rank, was itself an extremely rare, even counterintuitive, feat. Initially, when his golden finger had just awakened, he, like most other people, instinctively wanted to start with the lower laws that were easier to get into. Gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, light, these laws are relatively concrete and easier to perceive and understand, serving as a bridge to touch the core rules of the universe, which is the path of most geniuses. However, what he never expected was that in terms of law affinity, his best affinities were with the 2 higher laws, space and time. Without lower laws as a springboard, he directly comprehended the domains of the 2 higher laws. This special situation, it could be said, naturally reduced some barriers on his path to becoming a super-existence, a universe lord. Chapter 6, Prologue to the Battle of Geniuses. With an initial grasp of the law of time, Qingyu's consciousness instantly connected to the virtual universe network, intending to try practicing the tribulation divine weapon. Teleport. Slaughterhouse. The slaughterhouse is a special training ground in the virtual universe where any opponent can be simulated, satisfying both group battles and one-on-one combat. Settings. Qingyu's voice echoed in the empty space. Astral rank level 9 Peak Psyker Master, mastering the first stage of the Tribulation Divine Weapon. As soon as he finished speaking, on the other side of the alloy platform, space slightly warped, and a blurred figure condensed, carrying a Tribulation Divine Weapon on his back, identical to Qingyu's. Begin. Qingyu didn't hesitate in the slightest. With a thought, his powerful Psyker Master surged out frantically, attempting to activate the first stage, Chaotic Dance Silk. Immediately, a series of transparent circular blades flew out from the luminous white longsword on his back. A total of 9 circular blades, controlled by Qingyu's Psyker Master, had secret patterns flowing on them, forming a faint, ethereal thread. The transparent thread twisted and drifted with difficulty less than 10 meters in front of Qingyu, appearing somewhat unstable. Too slow, too weak. Qingyu's heart sank. In contrast, the simulated opponent's movements were as fluid as breathing. The opponent formed a stable thread almost instantly, and it was almost completely concealed, unlike Qingyu's, which was faint and ethereal. 2 threads cut towards each other. Qingyu's, Chaotic Dance Silk, had only flown a few meters when the opponent's attack was already upon him. Fast, faster than the limit of Qingyu's visual capture. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The gap was too vast. In just one exchange, Qingyu couldn't even clearly see the specific trajectory of the thread. His reluctantly applied, Chaotic Dance Silk crumbled like a fragile soap bubble before the true mastery of the first stage. The next moment, his consciousness plunged into darkness. The slaughter space returned to calm, and Qingyu's figure recondensed on the platform, his face slightly pale. The disparity, it's this great. An initial grasp of the law of time only allows for the possibility of barely condensing. Chaotic dance silk, Qingyu's eyes sharpened, instantly grasping the key. But to truly unleash the power of chaotic dance silk, the law of space must also cross the threshold. The law of space, he took a deep breath, his consciousness instantly disconnecting from the virtual universe. Domain is the activation, law is the control of its essence. Qingyu closed his eyes. Without external aids like the golden thread centipede shell, he could only rely on his own comprehension day after day. 4 years passed like sand through his fingers as Qingyu focused on his comprehension. So that's it. Qingyu suddenly opened his eyes, a silver light flashing and disappearing in them, sharp enough to seemingly cut through the space before him. The world, in his eyes, became even more clear. The law of space, entry level. 4 years, finally. Qingyu clenched his fists. Both major high-level laws had finally crossed the threshold. He didn't pause for a moment, his consciousness reconnecting to the virtual universe. Slaughterhouse. Opponent. Astral rank level 9 peak, mastering the first stage of the Tribulation divine weapon, chaotic dance silk. Buzz. The familiar figure condensed again, exuding powerful space-time law fluctuations. Fight. Qingyu low growled. This time, Qingyu's execution of the first stage, chaotic dance silk, was significantly smoother. The Tribulation divine weapon's sword body shimmered with faint light, and 9 crystal-clear small circular blades instantly separated. A thread, condensed to the extreme, flowing with a unified silver-gold luster, was born out of thin air. Go. Qingyu's will was like iron. Ding. Qingyu's chaotic dance silk clashed with the simulated opponent's chaotic dance silk. The moment of contact. Qingyu's ethereal, swaying thread was like paper hitting a divine weapon. It only lasted less than 0.1 seconds before being instantly cut, but this precisely created an opportunity for Qingyu to dodge the opponent's chaotic dance silk, avoiding being instantly killed like last time. Puff. However, he only managed to dodge that one attack. Before he could react further, he was cut by the opponent's second chaotic dance silk. The gap is in fusion, in control. My power is still too scattered, too crude. Qingyu, having recondensed, stood in place, deep in thought. I need to practice the first stage until it becomes second nature, so that I have more leeway and flexibility in controlling it. He clearly saw the disparity. The opponent could perfectly fuse and compress the power of the 9 circular blades to form a stable, deadly thread. The peak genius battle is only 3 years away. Qingyu suddenly clenched his fist. 2 months at most. I must initially be able to freely unleash a single chaotic dance thread. Before the genius battle begins, I must completely master the first stage. Qingyu cast aside all impatience and began a new round of impact and refinement. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Over these 3 years, Qingyu's figure was almost entirely immersed in the relentless practice of the first stage of the Tribulation divine weapon, chaotic dance silk, and the improvement of the myriad thread stream, secret technique. Outside the cultivation room, Realm Lord Qingming, dressed in a simple green robe, quietly approached. It had been 3 years. This boy had barely stepped out of the cultivation room, consuming a vast amount of resources from the clan, and bearing the future hopes of the entire Azure Scale clan. The pressure on him was immense, as one could imagine. Time's up. Realm Lord Qingming sighed inwardly. Qingyu. Inside the cultivation room, the sitting figure trembled slightly, and Qingyu slowly opened his eyes. His gaze was as profound as ever, but more inwardly focused than 3 years ago, as if containing an endless starry sky. 3 years of arduous cultivation had seemingly settled all his sharpness into his bones. He stood up, his movements fluid and natural, without a hint of stiffness, and walked out of the cultivation room. Ancestor. It's been 3 years. Realm Lord Qingming's voice carried a hint of emotion, but more of seriousness. Registration for the peak genius battle has begun. Qingyu's expression was calm as he nodded slightly. I know, Ancestor. Realm Lord Qingming looked at Qingyu's unruffled expression, and the solemnity in his heart did not lessen. The peak genius battle gathered the most top-tier astral rank geniuses from billions of galaxies across the entire universe nation. The competition's cruelty far exceeded imagination. Although Qingyu's talent was astonishing, his cultivation time was ultimately too short. How are you prepared? Realm Lord Qingming's voice deepened, carrying a subtle hint of inquiry and expectation. The first stage of the tribulation divine weapon. He didn't finish the question, but the meaning was clear. This was Qingyu's biggest trump card at the moment, and also the most uncertain aspect in Qingming's mind. That divine weapon was too difficult to wield. Qingyu met Realm Lord Qingming's gaze. His eyes remained calm, yet beneath that calmness, there was a rock-like steadfastness and absolute confidence. Rest assured, ancestor. Qingyu's voice was not loud, but every word was clear, carrying a decisive strength. I am confident in unleashing the first stage of the tribulation divine weapon. Chapter 7 Preliminary Round, Seeking Follow-up Reading. He didn't say, completely mastered, or, achieved perfection, but the 6 words, already confident in performing it, were like a stabilizing needle, instantly dispelling Realm Lord Qingming's worries. If you can perform the first stage of the tribulation divine weapon, then I'm relieved, you'll definitely make it into the top 1,000 of the Qinglin Universe Kingdom. Realm Lord Qingming's aged eyes suddenly burst with a light of pleasant surprise. In the virtual universe, above the Aurora Star region's exclusive island, that incomparably massive black announcement, glowing at its edges, hung like a divine oracle. On the announcement, characters emitted a dazzling white light. Universe humans, peak genius battle. These words radiated a dazzling light that stirred the heart. Held once every 10,000 years, about to commence. Jointly organized by the Virtual Universe Corporation, and all universe kingdoms. For details, please access the official website via your virtual assistant in the Virtual Universe Network. Below the announcement, it was already a sea of people. Virtual universe technology allowed countless humans from different star systems to gather here, and the clamor was like a boiling ocean. The peak genius battle, a once-in-10,000-year opportunity. I've cultivated for 100 years just for this moment. HMPH, geniuses from the entire Qinglin Universe Kingdom will come. Just making it through the preliminary round would be a miracle. Charge, break into the top 1,000 and ascend to the heavens in one step. I heard the number of registrants this time is higher than previous sessions. The competition is terrifying. When rivals meet, the brave win. My battle saber is already thirsting for blood. Heads bobbed, various strange life forms intertwined, and emotions of excitement, tension, ambition, and apprehension filled the air. This was the beginning of a grand feast for all astral-ranked geniuses of the human race. Qingyu paid no attention to the surrounding clamor. With a thought, he directly entered the Virtual Universe official website. At the very top, a line of glaring crimson numbers was rapidly fluctuating. Qinglin Universe Kingdom registration count, 2,347,295,103. 2.3 billion, and this is just the beginning, Qingyu murmured to himself. As if to confirm his thoughts, the number suddenly jumped. 2,357,295,103. In just a few seconds, another 100 million had been added. A registration frenzy. Geniuses from billions of star systems across the entire universe kingdom were pouring in. Qingyu quickly clicked on the registration portal, rapidly entering his name, race, and other information. Drip. Scan complete. Astral rank level 9 Psyker Master. Registration approved. The cold electronic voice announced successful registration. Qingyu didn't linger for a moment, his consciousness immediately exiting the registration page. Registration would last for a full month. For him, every second was precious. With my current strength, Qingyu quickly assessed in his mind. Mastered the first stage of Tribulation Divine Weapon, Chaotic Dance Silk, and cultivated the Myriad Thread Stream Secret technique to the 1 thread stream level. Among astral ranks, I can be considered a top-tier combatant. He recalled the vague impressions of Luo Feng's genius battle from his memory. Entering the Doomsday Secret Realm should not be a problem. There's also a good chance of contending for the Heaven and Earth Secret Realm. As for the highest beginning mythical region, it's almost impossible. Geniuses at that level all possess more powerful trump cards or deeper comprehension of laws. Qingyu's goal was clear. First, ensure entry into the top 1,000 of the Qinglin universe kingdom to qualify for the Doomsday Secret Realm. Then, contend for the Heaven and Earth Secret Realm. As for the highest beginning mythical region, he wouldn't harbor too many extravagant hopes for now. No rush. The current fourfold talent bonus is still a bit insufficient. After the genius battle ends, when I break through to universe rank, it will be an eightfold talent bonus. Progress will be even faster then. 1 month later, the registration channel closed on time. Realm Lord Qingming stayed by Qingyu's side until he saw Qingyu receive and confirm the email, only then truly sighing in relief, as if a crucial ritual had been completed. Qingyu quickly scanned the email content, the core information clearly imprinted in his mind. The final number of registrants for the Qinglin Universe Kingdom exceeded 750 billion. As for the rules, they were the same as Qingyu remembered, divided into internal Universe Kingdom selections and the Universe Grand Finals. The preliminary elimination stage was divided into 100 world zones, from which 100,100 people would be selected. Then, through arena battles, the top 1,000 would be determined to participate in the Grand Finals. 750 billion. Over 7.5 billion people fighting in each world zone, only 1,001 taken. Even Realm Lord Qingming, with his vast experience, couldn't help but gasp. This elimination rate, it's practically a sea of blood and corpses. Moreover, the number of registrants is nearly 100 billion more than last time, making the competition even more brutal. Qingyu, your goal is to first ensure entry into the top 1001 of your world zone. You must be careful. 1 month of preparation time flew by. The preliminary elimination round began. All astral rank geniuses gathered in their respective teleportation areas. At the core of the Qinglin Universe Kingdom, the Qinglin Secret Realm. An invisible pressure enveloped the vast plaza. An indescribably magnificent figure seemed to merge with the laws of the universe. A mere sweep of his consciousness caused space to tremble slightly. Below, was the fierce genius team meticulously cultivated by the Qinglin Secret Realm. A grand, emotionless voice echoed in their minds. Go. For my Qinglin Universe Kingdom, seize glory. Aurora Star Region, Aurora Empire. The Aurora Emperor, adorned in a magnificent star robe and wearing a galaxy crown, majestically floated in the air. His voice resonated among the elites selected by the Empire below. Geniuses of the Empire, the time has come to prove your worth. Break into the top 100,000, and the Empire will bestow upon you supreme glory and resources. The geniuses below roared in unison, their fighting spirit soaring. At the same time, Realm Lord Qingming looked at the countless figures enveloped in teleportation light around them, finally patting Qingyu's shoulder, everything unspoken. First, get into the top 1,000, and then, strive for as high a ranking as possible. Qingyu nodded heavily. Just then, all participants, please note, this preliminary elimination round is about to begin. A mass teleportation will occur shortly. Please check your equipment. Once the preliminary round begins, you will not be able to request weapons. Teleportation is about to begin. Countdown starts now. 10, 9, 3, 2, 1, teleport. Qingyu felt his vision suddenly filled with endless white light, and a strong pulling sensation came from space. The next moment, the white light dissipated, and the feeling of solid ground returned. Qingyu quickly looked around. He was in a narrow, dimly lit alley. On both sides were towering skyscrapers, their walls a cold metallic gray-black. All terrain and buildings in the world zone simulated the hardness of B9 grade alloy. The sky above was cut into a long, narrow strip, hazy. In the distance, intense energy explosions and brief screams faintly echoed, signaling that the killing had already begun. The screen on his arm guard lit up. Participant, Qingyu Aurora Empire. Points, 0. Ranking, none. Current world zone, 12th world zone. Time remaining, 29 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes. Chapter 8 Inches Silver Fox, please read. Qingyu had no intention of finding a secluded spot to cultivate first. Even with a fourfold talent bonus, the improvement in his strength would be limited in a short period. Let's just start, Qingyu murmured, his voice barely audible in the desolate, silent street. He closed his eyes slightly, and his Psyker Master power, like an invisible tide, quietly spread outwards from him as its center, easily covering several kilometers in every direction. The feedback from the Psyker Master scan instantly formed a three-dimensional image in his consciousness. With a move of his foot, the flowing light disk, hovering 10 meters above the ground, instantly accelerated, carrying him away as a blurred, silver afterimage. Whoosh! The battle took place in a sunken plaza, where two burly warriors with dark red scales covering their skin were back to back, wielding heavy alloy battle axes, fending off attacks from all sides. They were being ambushed by 5 slender figures, whose movements were fleeting, with energy blades extending from their arms, moving as swiftly as ghosts, clearly working in perfect coordination. The red-scaled warriors were covered in wounds, roaring repeatedly, and dark red light intensely fluctuated around them, hot airwaves distorting the air, yet unable to fully repel the cunning and ruthless cuts from the energy blades. Qingyu's arrival went unnoticed. He hovered atop a broken, massive alloy pillar on the edge of the plaza, looking down with an indifferent gaze. With a slight flick of his finger at his side, an inconspicuous greenish-gold metal disc at his waist, arc light, silently disassembled. Instantly, dozens of curved blades with chilling greenish-gold light flowing along their edges, like a disturbed swarm of bees, hovered around him, emitting a low hum. Go. His thoughts stirred slightly. Buzz. Streaks of silver light tore through the air, emitting short, sharp shrieks, like 3 instantaneous flashes of lightning, heading straight for the core of the battlefield. Their speed far exceeded the reaction limits of the attackers. Dozens of greenish-gold streaks of light suddenly erupted, tearing through the air and emitting piercing shrieks. They were not chaotic but precisely guided by an invisible hand, instantly weaving into a deadly cutting net that accurately enveloped the 5 attackers. Puff, 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 puff. Dense, short-cutting sounds rang out almost simultaneously. The movements of the 5 slender figures abruptly froze, their bodies were instantly pierced and sliced by dozens of greenish-gold, thread-like trajectories, turning into countless broken pieces of corpses, like dolls thrown into a shredder. A Psyker Master. The 2 red-scaled warriors exclaimed in horror. Run. Before they could run even a meter, the dense, scalp-numbing cutting sounds rang out almost simultaneously. All movement in the plaza abruptly froze. Puff, puff. The 2 red-scaled warriors, their roaring expressions frozen on their faces, their heavy alloy warhammers, along with their scale-covered bodies, were mercilessly pierced and torn by several, even a dozen, greenish-gold streaks of light. A subtle notification of points being credited flashed in Qingyu's consciousness. He didn't even glance at the instantly cleared battlefield below. The flowing light disk adjusted its direction, and his silver figure, like a ghost harvesting lives, sped towards the next energy fluctuation point detected by his Psyker Master power, without the slightest hesitation. Qingyu, like a silver wind of death, moved through City 8. He no longer just followed battle fluctuations, his Psyker Master scan, like the most precise radar, actively captured all active life signals within his field of vision. Each appearance was accompanied by the despair-inducing greenish-gold storm of arc light. Thanks to his cultivation of the Tribulation Divine Weapon, Chaotic Dance Silk, Qingyu's control over Psyker Master weapons had reached an astonishing level. This 3rd-tier Psyker Master weapon, Arc Light, in his hands, was as fast as lightning, its trajectories cunning and unpredictable, and its power incredibly concentrated. Dealing with ordinary astral rank level 9 opponents was like slaughtering chickens. On the top floor of a dilapidated shopping center, a one-eyed giant nearly 4 meters tall, with muscles as gnarled as rocks, roared as he charged at Qingyu. Qingyu hovered in midair, arc light instantly disassembled, and the swarm of blades, like a cascading greenish-gold waterfall, cut the giant and his roaring voice into silent fragments. Outside the glass curtain wall of a skyscraper, a slender woman with transparent wings on her back, moving incredibly fast, tried to escape using her level 2 wind domain. Dozens of greenish-gold streaks of light, like maggots to bone, drew countless deadly cutting trajectories in the air, moving even faster, instantly shredding her. His point soared wildly, and Qingyu's name on the point leaderboard of the 12th world zone shot up like a lit rocket, at an astonishing speed. From beyond the millionth rank, he forcefully rushed into the top 100,000, the top 10,000, the top 1,000. Each jump of his name was accompanied by the death of thousands of opponents, and the rank leaps became larger and larger, carrying an unstoppable, icy momentum. Participant: Qingyu Aurora Empire. Points: 10,017,482. Rank: 571. Due to Qingyu's formidable strength, soon almost the entire city-8 knew of his existence, and because of Qingyu's silver hair and his use of the arc-light weapon, he earned the title of Silver Fox. Ellipsis. Realm Lord Qingming sat on a cold metal seat, a giant light screen hovering before him, densely scrolling with the real-time point rankings of the 12th world zone. Qingyu's name, like a cold blade drawn from its sheath, was cutting upwards at a heart-stopping, almost linear speed. Top 300, top 200, now top 100. An elder of the Azure Scale clan standing by his side spoke with incredible excitement, watching the name rising like a comet on the light screen. This speed, it's astounding. Young Master Qingyu, he's sweeping through everyone. Realm Lord Qingming's usually calm face showed expressions of surprise and shock. He truly hadn't expected Qingyu's strength to have grown so much. Sweeping. No, this is crushing. I didn't expect him to improve so much in these 10 years. My Azure Scale clan might be on the rise. Ellipsis. Clang, 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 clang. Dense impact sounds, like a fierce storm and the urgent tolling of a death knell, wildly echoed under the vast dome of the stadium, making the entire space hum. Qingyu hovered in midair in the center of the stadium, the flowing light disk glowing silver beneath his feet. Before him, over 1,000 greenish gold-curved blades, like a frenzied swarm of metal bees, rapidly rotated, cut, and pierced at dazzling speed. It was as if countless blades converged into a destructive greenish-gold storm, accompanied by ear-piercing shrieks, frantically bombarding a figure below, enveloped in a thick, almost solid, earthy yellow light. That was a warrior, stout as an iron tower, with a spiral-shaped single horn on his forehead. He was half-kneeling, his muscles bulging in his arms, firmly holding a massive, incredibly thick tower shield. The earthy yellow domain light was as heavy as a mountain, clearly reaching level 9. Chapter 9 is so weak. Please read it later. The domain around him vibrated violently, like layers of rock barriers, forming an almost impenetrable defense with the tower shield. Each time the arc-light blades cut and pierced, they only left dense, deep marks and dazzling sparks on the shield surface and domain, emitting ear-splitting explosions, yet they could never completely tear open this indestructible defense. Ha ha ha, it's useless. No matter how dense your attacks are, you'll never break my adamant block. The one-horned warrior's forehead veins bulged like earthworms, sweat mixed with blood flowed from his cracked tiger's mouth, staining the shield handle, and his single eye gleamed with a beast-like madness and a hint of twisted triumph. Among astral rank, I, horned brute, have the strongest defense. Is that so? Clang. A clear, melodious sword cry, like a phoenix's song from the 9 heavens or the striking of ice jade, suddenly tore through all the noise without warning. It wasn't high-pitched, but it carried a soul-piercing penetration that instantly echoed throughout the entire stadium. Behind Qingyu, the gleaming white longsword slung across his back, which had always been as silent as an ornament, the Tribulation Divine Weapon, suddenly came alive. Tribulation Divine Weapon. The one-horned warrior's iron tower-like body trembled, his eyes filled with shock. You can use the Tribulation Divine Weapon. I admit your defense is very strong. Without the Tribulation Divine Weapon, I indeed couldn't break your defense. Qingyu nodded slightly, acknowledging Horned Brute's defense. Horned Brute felt a surge of tension. The reputation of the 9 great divine weapons was too great, especially the most mysterious and powerful Tribulation Divine Weapon. However, the boiling fighting spirit in his heart left no room for fear. Silver Fox. It's truly a pleasure to meet a strong opponent like you in the preliminary rounds. Let me see, just how powerful the legendary Tribulation Divine Weapon truly is. You won't be disappointed. The countless transparent small circular blades forming the sword body instantly disintegrated and reassembled. 9 small circular blades detached from the main body, and in 1/100th of a second, they condensed in front of Qingyu into a crystalline thread no thicker than a strand of hair, yet its edges shimmered, distorting and blurring the surrounding space's light. The chaotic dance silk moved. HMPH. Horned Brute roared through gritted teeth, his forehead veins bulging, as he gripped his heavy primal force shield, trying to block the attack. There was no earth-shattering momentum, no dazzling light. It simply brushed forward with extreme gentleness and elegance, like death's most casual sigh. Chhh. A soft sound, as subtle as an ice needle falling to the ground. That utterly compressed, supposedly invincible astral rank defense of the 9-layered peak Earth yellow domain light, that incredibly thick, 5-tier tower shield that had withstood hundreds of arc light blades' frantic bombardment, along with the one-horned warrior's massive body. Silently split into 2 halves, the cut as smooth as a mirror, even blood and energy instantly annihilated. Dead silence. Absolute dead silence enveloped the stadium. Only that crystalline thread suspended in the air, radiating suffocating terror, proved that everything that had just happened was not an illusion. Qingyu was expressionless. He stretched out a finger, and the deadly thread formed by the 9 small circular blades, like the most obedient pet, wrapped around his fingertip. With a gentle twist, it silently disintegrated and flew back behind him. His gaze, cold, was cast towards the stadium's massive exit passage. The battle between Qingyu and Horned Brute, such a huge commotion, naturally attracted many talented experts from City 8. At this moment, they stood frozen like ice-bound statues in the shadows. The color drained from their faces, their pupils contracted to pinpricks from witnessing a scene beyond comprehension, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. Silver Fox. It's that, Silver Fox. He can actually use the Tribulation divine weapon. Horned Brute lost. Horned Brute was the strongest in our City 8. Run. One move, a 9-layered peak domain, and it was the Earth domain, specialized in defense, it was just gone. Silver Fox is targeting us, run. Those figures burst out with unprecedented speed, frantically rushing outwards. No one wanted to become someone else's points. Qingyu did not chase them. He had almost swept through City 8, and the remaining people didn't have many points. Horned Brute's points are quite a lot, actually, directly giving me over 16 million points. Qingyu's gaze swept over the scoreboard. Participant, Qingyu Aurora Empire. Points, 34,017,508. Ranking, 43. Time remaining, 5 days 19 hours 39 minutes. Horned Brute, a 9-layered peak domain, Earth Element Defense Specialist, indeed quite troublesome, Qingyu murmured to himself, the battle scene replaying in his mind. But, is this the strongest level in City 8? And even after sweeping through other cities and returning, a wave of doubt surged in his heart. Qingyu recalled Luo Feng's generation of the peak genius battle, those geniuses who casually stepped into the threshold of laws, had perfected domains, and possessed world-shaking secret techniques. In comparison, while Horned Brute was strong, he seemed not quite enough. Is it my illusion, or is it that? Qingyu looked out at the vast and silent wilderness beyond the city. The overall level of this genius battle is simply too low. Doubt aside, his goal was crystal clear. Since you are all so weak, then the first place in this 12th world sector. I will claim it. Qingyu's eyes once again became calm and cold, like Arctic ice. The flowing light disk beneath his feet glowed faintly, lifting him slowly into the air. There are still over 5 days left, enough time. His figure transformed into a pale silver stream of light, speeding directly towards the next target city at a speed far exceeding that of an ordinary astral-ranked Psyker Master. In the following days, several cities spreading out from City 8 welcomed a terrifying figure, Silver Fox. His silver hair and the iconic gleaming white longsword on his back became a declaration of death. Geniuses with 5 or 6 layered domains often didn't even have time to react before becoming Qingyu's points. Only a very few with special life-saving techniques could barely force him to use the Tribulation divine weapon, but the outcome remained unchanged. On the last day of the preliminary rounds, in City 3, on a massive fortress made of solidified obsidian, Qingyu's figure, stepping on the flowing light disk, hovered in the air. Silver Fox. I've been waiting for you for a long time. A burly figure, wrapped in violent purple lightning that crackled, held a menacing warhammer wreathed in lightning, pointing it at Qingyu, his voice like thunder. Qingyu's eyes were calm and unperturbed as he looked at the imposing figure below. Mocha. Qingyu's current points had reached 198 million, ranking second. He was only 5 million points behind Mocha, who was at the top of the leaderboard. As long as he killed Mocha, first place in this world sector would be his. Chapter 10 Part 1. Mocha's burly body was wreathed in violent purple lightning, crackling and popping, as if Thunder God had descended. Silver Fox. I've been waiting for you here to fight you. We are already the first and second in this world zone. Even if we lose, we can ensure a ranking within the top 1001. Come on. Stop with the nonsense, let's just begin. Qingyu's voice was clear and cool, speaking softly, his words piercing through the subtle roar of the thunder. Good. Straight to the point. Mocha let out a wild laugh. Before his laughter faded, his entire being transformed into a purple lightning bolt tearing through space. Thunder Domain, 1,000 Jins. Boom. Only a fierce, exploding shockwave and scorched air remained in his original spot. His burly figure had instantly appeared before Qingyu. Fast. Faster than the limits of vision. The warhammer, carrying immense thunder, tore through the air, bringing with it an ear-piercing shriek and the might to destroy everything, as it smashed down towards Qingyu's head. Facing this world-shattering blow, the flowing light disk beneath Qingyu's feet merely flickered. Swish. His figure vanished like a ghost, leaving only an afterimage torn by the lightning. The warhammer, with its immense power, smashed hard into empty space. A violent burst of energy erupted, blasting a huge, deep crater into the top of the hard obsidian fortress, sending debris mixed with lightning and fire flying everywhere. Mocha's attack missed, and his reaction was as swift as lightning. Without even looking, he swept the warhammer horizontally. The lightning transformed into a giant purple crescent, sweeping out with terrifying cutting power. At the same time, he stomped his feet violently in the void. The air exploded as if it were solid, and his figure, like a persistent shadow, chased after the direction Qingyu had dodged. However, that silver figure remained like a small boat amidst raging waves, weaving erratically through the destructive thunder. Qingyu, stepping on the flowing light disk, moved with incredible agility. Every dodge was executed with pinpoint precision, as if he had anticipated the trajectory of all the lightning beforehand. Dodge. Let's see how long you can keep dodging. Mocha, unable to land a hit, felt the burning rage of being underestimated flare up, and the lightning in his single eye intensified. Open up for me, he roared, and the purple lightning coiling around his body suddenly collapsed inward, condensing to the extreme, as if coating his body with a layer of flowing liquid amethyst. An aura far more terrifying and concentrated than before erupted. At this moment, Mocha's speed and strength suddenly ascended to another level. The warhammer in his hand seemed to have transformed into a pure, concentrated purple lightning bolt. Power of law. It's the law of lightning. An uncontrollable gasp came from a corner. Mocha is getting serious. At this point, Qingyu also stopped. A clear, melodious sword cry, like a phoenix's song from the 9 heavens or the clashing of ice and jade, suddenly overshadowed all the violent thunder. Clang. The countless transparent small circular blades that formed the sword body instantly disintegrated and reassembled. 9 small circular blades detached from the main body, condensing in 1/100th of a second before Qingyu into a crystalline thread thinner than a strand of hair, its edges shimmering and distorting the surrounding space's light. Chaotic dance silk. The first crystalline thread silently met the purple lightning, condensed to its extreme. Hiss. A faint sound, almost inaudible. That terrifying lightning, containing Mocha's initial understanding of the law of lightning, was split into 2 by the slender thread, like a red-hot iron plunging into solidified butter. The violent lightning instantly dimmed and dispersed. What? Mocha's pupils suddenly constricted. Qingyu didn't hold back, his mind moving. Buzz. 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 Another 3 equally slender, equally spaced distorting crystalline threads instantly materialized. The 4 chaotic dance silk, like living spirit snakes, carried a chilling killing intent that could cut through all things, slashing down towards Mocha. Their speed was faster than lightning. Mocha felt an unprecedented threat. He roared, pouring all his inner power and all his understanding of the law of lightning into his warhammer. The warhammer erupted with an unprecedented dazzling purple light. He swung it frantically, forming an impenetrable barrier of violent lightning in front of him. Thunder prisoned sky barrier. Sizzle sizzle sizzle, hiss hiss hiss. Ear-splitting cutting sounds, enough to make one's scalp tingle, erupted frantically. The purple lightning flashed wildly, flickering on and off. Each collision made Mocha's entire body tremble violently, his tiger's mouth cracking, blood instantly staining the hammer handle. No, impossible. Mocha's single eye was wide, bloodshot, as he let out a bestial roar, swinging the massive hammer with his last ounce of strength. This is as far as you go. Qingyu's voice remained indifferent, like a pronouncement. He tapped his fingertip again. The fifth crystalline thread appeared silently. Gently, precisely, and elegantly, it lightly brushed Mocha's nearly shattered lightning barrier. Hiss. A soft sound. Time seemed to freeze at this moment. A blood-red line, impossibly thin, extended straight down from Mocha's glabella, passing through his nose, lips, throat, chest, all the way to his lower abdomen. Mocha, defeated. My heavens. Mocha, who stepped into the threshold of the law of lightning origin, was defeated just like that. It's because Silver Fox is too strong. He can use the Tribulation divine weapon. If it were me, I probably couldn't last even a second. Too terrifying. Silver Fox is the true genius. Compared to him, I don't even deserve the word, genius. All the talented experts who had come to watch the battle looked at Qingyu with shock and awe. There were indeed differences even among geniuses. Qingyu glanced at the points leaderboard. Participant. Qingyu Aurora Empire. Points, 299,042,617. Rank, 1. Time remaining, 3 hours 39 minutes. With 3 hours left, Qingyu no longer fought. It was impossible for anyone in the 12th World Zone to surpass him. After 30 consecutive days of fighting, he needed to calm his mind. Soon, the preliminary round was about to end. In the final countdown, those survivors who were just shy of entering the top 1001 went wild, and the various world zones descended into chaos. Qingyu waited silently. Preliminary round ended. Initiating teleportation. In the Aurora Empire, beneath the crystal dome, a huge light screen occupied half the hall, clearly projecting the final ranking of the 12th World Zone. Qingyu's name stood at the top, radiating brilliant golden light. Good. Good. What a Qingyu. The Aurora Emperor, dressed in a stellar imperial robe and wearing a radiant crown, suddenly rose from his imperial throne, his majestic face filled with uncontrollable surprise and admiration. To win first place in the World Zone for my Aurora Star region. Magnificent. The many high-ranking officials and generals standing in the hall also had excited red glows on their faces, bowing in unison. Congratulations, Your Majesty. This child's extraordinary talent is truly a blessing for our empire. Reward. He must be heavily rewarded. The emperor waved his large hand, full of heroic spirit. Such a feat deserves a galaxy. Immediately ascertain this child's family and the galaxies under their jurisdiction. Your Majesty, this Qingyu comes from the Azure Scale Clan, led by the two world lords, Qingming and Qingzan. They control 107 galaxies, and their clan's main base is located in the Qinglin Galaxy. A world lord family, controlling over 100 galaxies. The joy on the emperor's face slightly faltered, and his brow furrowed almost imperceptibly. Grant a galaxy. The other party already controlled over 100 galaxies, making this reward seem both insignificant and dispensable. He mused as he sat back on the imperial throne, his fingertips unconsciously tapping the cold armrest. This is a bit tricky. Your Majesty. A sharp-faced general in luxurious attire stepped forward. Your subordinate has a plan. Oh, the emperor's gaze was like a torch. Your servant has reviewed the detailed intelligence on the Azure Scale Clan from recent years. The richly dressed general's voice was steady. The two world lords of the Azure Scale Clan, Qingming and Qingzan, are both nearing the end of their lifespans and their clan lacks suitable successors. He paused, his tone turning cold. Therefore, the Azure Scale Clan's situation has been precarious in recent years. Theri Stardust Gold, mining planet has attracted the covetous gaze of several surrounding world lord powers of similar standing. Furthermore, Qingyu's parents died 20 years ago at the hands of the notorious Bloodfang Star Pirates. The Azure Scale Clan is currently offering a hefty reward for the Bloodfang Star Pirates, but without success. If your majesty could intervene and resolve these two major hidden dangers for them. The emperor's eyes gleamed brightly, his fingers stopped tapping, and he slammed his hand on the armrest. Excellent. That's what we'll do. Chapter 11, Immortal Decree. In a vast starfield within the Qinglin Universe Kingdom, a man in hemp robes, whose face could not be clearly seen, opened and closed his eyes as if countless galaxies were being born and collapsing within them. He was the supreme ruler of the Qinglin Universe Kingdom, the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom. Before him floated an even more ancient and clearer light screen, displaying the final moments of Qingyu's battle with Mocha. Those 5 slender, crystal-clear chaotic dance silk cut through the thunder law as if it were rotten wood. Time law entry, space law also has a hint of its essence. The Lord of Qinglin Kingdom's voice was calm and unruffled, as if he were stating a trivial matter unrelated to him. Astral rank, dual higher level law entry, tribulation divine weapon first stage, his aptitude is decent. An undying spiritual god, whose aura was as obscure and profound as an abyss, stood by his side and bowed slightly. Lord, this Qingyu is indeed one of the most striking talents among the first-place winners in this batch of preliminary world zones. It is truly not easy for him to use a tribulation divine weapon at the astral rank. The corner of the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom's mouth seemed to curve into an extremely faint, barely perceptible arc, which did not contain approval. He shook his head slightly, his gaze seemingly penetrating the light screen, seeing a certain destined future. Comprehending both space and time, 2 higher-level laws, simultaneously. The Lord of Qinglin Kingdom's voice carried an inexplicable meaning, like an elder looking at a child determined to climb 2 formidable peaks at the same time. Too ambitious, too greedy. Look at him wielding the tribulation divine weapon, his spacetime power is miscellaneous and shallow. Are both higher-level laws progressing equally? His words were like the cold cosmic laws themselves. The ultimate result will likely be that both lose their essence, becoming mediocre. Needlessly wasting the higher achievements he might have attained in a single law. Although higher-level laws are powerful, being too greedy is the path to self-destruction. As a lord of a universe kingdom, he had existed for countless years, one of the oldest beings in the human race, and had seen too many geniuses. Qingyu's talent, in the eyes of the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom, could only be considered decent, far from reaching the level where he could simultaneously comprehend the laws of space and time. What a pity for this talent. The Lord of Qinglin Kingdom took one last look at Qingyu's young and calm face on the light screen, then gently waved his hand, and the light screen dissipated like ripples on water. Notify Ares to make a trip. Say what needs to be said clearly, how he chooses is up to him. Yes, Lord. The undying spiritual god bowed in response, his figure disappearing as if merging into the shadows. Ellipsis. In the virtual universe, Qingyu had just been teleported out of the world zone. Qingyu. A voice filled with excitement and boundless relief rang out. Qingyu looked up and saw Realm Lord Qingming hurrying towards him, his aged face now beaming with uncontrollable joy, his eyes sparkling as if he had grown hundreds of years younger. Good, good, good. Realm Lord Qingming walked closer, heavily patting Qingyu's shoulder, repeating, good, 3 times, his voice trembling slightly. First in the world zone. Ha ha ha. My Azure Scale Clan has also produced an unparalleled genius who can make a name for himself in the Qinglin Universe Kingdom. My ancestor, he was so excited that he was momentarily speechless, only patting Qingyu's shoulder forcefully. Realm Lord Qingming took a deep breath to calm his agitated emotions. Qingyu, have you received many emails? Realm Lord Qingming said, a knowing and reminding look in his eyes, like someone who had experienced it before. Qingyu's thoughts stirred, and indeed, the virtual universe popped up over 100 emails, still constantly refreshing. Invitations, congratulations, probes, and recruitment offers from various major powers, organizations, and even some secretive groups surged in like a tide. The promised resources, status, secret techniques, and guidance were so abundant that they could make any astral-rank genius dizzy. Yes, many. Qingyu responded simply, his face showing little emotion. Ignore them. Realm Lord Qingming said decisively, his tone carrying an unquestionable warning. You already have the qualification to participate in the final pan-universe battle, so your goal is to enter the core of the Virtual Universe Corporation. Qingyu understands. Qingyu nodded. He had no intention of being distracted by these matters. Compared to the Virtual Universe Corporation, even a universe kingdom was tiny, and these smaller powers and organizations were even less significant. The arena battles usually last 2 to 3 years. You must be single-minded, dedicating all your energy to improving your strength and preparing for the decisive battle. Just then, Realm Lord Qingming's virtual assistant on his wrist emitted a special notification sound, not a typical email alert. In just a moment, the relaxed expression on Realm Lord Qingming's face vanished, replaced by extreme solemnity, even a hint of barely perceptible nervousness. He took a deep breath, looked at Qingyu, and lowered his voice a few degrees with an unprecedented solemnity. Qingyu, prepare yourself. Follow me to greet a distinguished guest. The envoy dispatched by the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom has arrived. He is here to see you. Realm Lord Qingming's voice carried a hint of reverence. Realm Lord Qingming led the way, with Qingyu half a step behind him, and the two quickly teleported to a private small island. In the center of that open area, a figure stood silently, clad in battle armor that seemed forged from gold, with esoteric secret runes flowing across its plates, exuding an eternal, undying aura. Realm Lord Qingming brought Qingyu to a halt about 10 steps away from Ares. Qingming of the Azure Scale Clan, with my junior Qingyu, greets Undying Lord. We are greatly humbled by your personal visit, Undying Lord. The Undying's gaze, like tangible starlight, slowly swept over Realm Lord Qingming and finally settled on Qingyu. You must be Qingyu. My name is Ares, you may call me Divine Lord. His eyes were calm and unruffled, carrying a condescending scrutiny. There was no malice in his gaze, but also no warmth, only a natural arrogance stemming from his life level and status. Greetings, Divine Lord Ares. Qingyu bowed respectfully. Ares nodded slightly. Ares's gaze remained fixed on Qingyu, the scrutinizing meaning undiminished. Qingyu, you won first place in the 12th World Zone preliminaries. Your performance was good. His Majesty the Lord has ordered me to personally convey his decree, which shows His Majesty's pay attention to of you. His Majesty expects you to exert your full effort in the upcoming Pan-Universe Grand Finals, to strive for a top 1000 ranking, and bring glory to my Qinglin Universe Kingdom. His Majesty will then richly reward you. He paused, then continued in a flat tone, as if announcing established cosmic rules. If you ultimately fail to rank among the top 1000 in the entire universe, you must join my Qinglin Universe Kingdom. At that time, you will be arranged to enter the Qinglin Secret Realm, where you will also receive top-tier training. Is that clear? Facing an undying powerhouse, and one who was conveying the will of the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom, Qingyu naturally could not say no in such a situation. Qingyu understands, Lord Ares. Chapter 12 Final Battle. Please read. Ares nodded slightly, acknowledging Qingyu's attitude. His gaze once again scrutinized Qingyu, and his tone became serious and formal. Furthermore, the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom has asked me to convey something to you. He paused, ensuring every word clearly reached Qingyu's ears. Both space law and time law are higher laws, their profound mysteries are far beyond those of lesser laws. You are currently in a critical period for building your foundation, and your energy is even more limited. Attempting to comprehend two higher laws simultaneously is an extremely unwise choice. His words were direct and powerful, carrying the authority of an undying being. This will greatly disperse your energy and slow down your progress. The ultimate result will likely be that you cannot delve deeply into either path, wasting your talent and a great deal of time. Focusing on one path is the truly correct way to become powerful. The Lord of Qinglin Kingdom hopes you will consider this carefully and not go astray. Under Qingyu's lowered eyelids, his gaze did not waver in the slightest. He fully understood that the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom's starting point was out of cherishing talent and being responsible for his future, which was why he offered the reminder. But he was Qingyu. He had a cheat. Moreover, he clearly perceived that his affinity for space and time far surpassed that for any lesser law. What others saw as a wrong path might, for him, be a direct route to success. His belief was as firm as a rock, but Qingyu maintained a respectful demeanor, bowing slightly and saying, "Qingyu thanks the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom for his guidance. Qingyu will certainly keep the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom's teachings in mind and seriously ponder his future path." Ares looked deeply at Qingyu. He could sense an ineffable certainty hidden beneath the young man's calm exterior, but as an undying being, he had fulfilled his duty by conveying the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom's will. As for whether the other party listened, that was their own fortune. He said no more, only adding one last sentence. "My words are done. I hope you will do well for yourself." As his voice faded, the luxurious golden armor once again shimmered with a hazy glow. Ares's figure, like a phantom merging with starlight, elegantly and silently faded and disappeared. The entire arena battle would last for several years, and Qingyu naturally wouldn't waste time. Time flew by quickly in focused cultivation. Qingyu was single-minded, completely immersing himself in the ocean of laws. The secret pattern diagram of the second stage of the tribulation divine weapon, weaving void net, was already imprinted in his mind. Its core lay in elevating the quantity and control precision of the chaotic dance silk to a new level, and imbuing them with more complex spatial structural changes, forming a strangling domain like a net covering the sky and earth. In 4 years, Qingyu's comprehension of space and time laws progressed minimally, but he could already unleash the weaving void net, and his strength had significantly improved compared to 4 years ago. During these 4 years, the arena battles in the Qinglin Universe Kingdom and many other universe kingdoms had also concluded one after another. Countless geniuses emerged in the cruel elimination rounds, or were mercilessly eliminated. The cosmic grand finals were about to begin. Virtual Universe, the Qinglin Universe Kingdom's exclusive assembly plane, Qinglin Floating Island. Qingyu's figure appeared on a magnificent square. Lights and shadows flickered around him, and figures continuously emerged, each with extraordinary aura, sharp eyes, and full of fighting spirit and confidence. These were the top 1,000 who had emerged from hundreds of millions of geniuses in the Qinglin Universe Kingdom, having gone through layers of bloody battles in the preliminaries and arena battles. Among the crowd, Qingyu saw a familiar figure, Mocha, still burly, with faint electric light circulating around him, his aura even more condensed and profound than 4 years ago. Mocha also saw Qingyu, especially when his gaze fell upon the silent, glowing white longsword on his back. His eyes instantly became incredibly complex, with wariness and fighting intent, clearly still somewhat unwilling to accept his defeat 4 years ago. Just then, a vast undying pressure descended, instantly silencing the bustling square. Ares, clad in magnificent golden armor, appeared silently above the square. His gaze, like lightning, swept over the 1,000 geniuses below, who represented the future of the Qinglin Universe Kingdom. "I am Ares. By order of the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom, I am responsible for leading you this time. You may call me Lord God." "Lord God." The 1,000 geniuses respectfully and loudly exclaimed, almost instinctively. Ares's gaze swept over the geniuses, and he said in a cold voice, "The fact that you could fight your way out of hundreds of millions of geniuses in the Qinglin Universe Kingdom and stand here proves your strength and potential. But the real test has only just begun. I hope that among you, several more will enter the top 1,000. Bring glory to our Qinglin Universe Kingdom. Now, follow me to teleport." As soon as his voice fell, a huge beam of light enveloped the entire Qinglin Floating Island. Space instantly twisted and changed. The next moment, all the geniuses of the Qinglin Universe Kingdom felt the scene before them suddenly open up. They appeared on an incredibly vast, seemingly boundless giant square. On the edges of the square, stood exactly 1,008 magnificent buildings of various styles. The square was full of people. Densely packed people. Over 1 million geniuses, like a surging tide, gathered in various parts of the square. This was the pinnacle gathering of human race geniuses from across the entire universe. The geniuses of the Qinglin Universe Kingdom were teleported in front of their designated building, a towering structure numbered 507. Ares's undying voice resonated in their minds. Free movement. When the finals begin, all of you will hear it no matter where you are. After giving his instructions, Ares's undying figure disappeared from above the Qinglin Universe Kingdom's genius team. Restaurant number 1 in the square, this was where the undying beings from various universe kingdoms gathered. Ares. Long time no see. A burly undying, enveloped in a crimson flame aura and with a single horn on his forehead, laughed loudly. Yanju. Ares nodded slightly in greeting. Yanju's gaze swept over the vast sea of geniuses below, and he asked with interest. Are there any exceptional geniuses from your Qinglin Universe Kingdom this time? Nothing particularly outstanding. Ares shook his head with a hint of helplessness. Ares, I heard that your Qinglin has an interesting young fellow this generation. He used a tribulation divine weapon to get first place in the world district during the preliminaries. And he cultivates both space and time higher laws simultaneously. Another undying, several meters tall, asked. Ares's gaze shifted, and with a casual gesture, he easily found the silver-haired young man in the crowd, carrying a glowing white longsword and exuding a calm aura. Ares's face was expressionless, he just shook his head faintly, his tone carrying a hint of noncommittal meaning. That's him, a young fellow from the Azure Scale clan. His talent is passable. But the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom has already warned him that cultivating two higher laws simultaneously is a perilous path. The other undying beings, hearing this, all showed expressions of understanding and regret. What a pity, a tribulation divine weapon. But your Lord of Qinglin Kingdom is right, I hope this young fellow can turn back in time and not waste too much time. Chapter 13 Trial Tower, seeking follow-up reading. Qingyu was standing in the plaza, looking around, when a heavy set of footsteps suddenly approached. Qingyu didn't need to turn around, his mental power had already seen the newcomer, it was Mocha. Turning around, he saw it was indeed Mocha. He walked to a spot not far from Qingyu and stood still, his gaze intently fixed on the silent, glowing white longsword on Qingyu's back. Qingyu, Mocha's voice was low, carrying a hint of hoarse battle intent. It's been 4 years. That last battle in the preliminaries, a flash of lightning appeared in Mocha's single eye. I lost fair and square. The tribulation divine weapon lives up to its name. He frankly admitted defeat, but then his tone shifted, filled with strong reluctance and rekindled fighting spirit. But these 4 years, I've honed myself day and night on the law of lightning, battling countless powerful foes in the killing fields. My thunder prison sky barrier is no longer what it once was. I've even touched a deeper threshold of the law. He clenched his fists, his knuckles cracking as if lightning was brewing within them. In this final battle, I must fight you again. Fair and square, with my lightning, I will cleave open your tribulation divine weapon. Qingyu looked at the battle intent and reluctance almost overflowing from Mocha's eyes, his expression still unreadable. He simply nodded faintly. Congratulations on your progress. However, his gaze swept past Mocha, towards the core areas of the plaza where a few figures radiated the most astonishing, star-like auras. Your opponents, I'm afraid, are not just me. Mocha followed Qingyu's gaze, and his expression also became a few shades more serious. I've heard a lot about the deeds of those monsters from other universe kingdoms, he said, pointing to a figure at the center of the plaza, surrounded by scorching airflow, like a miniature sun. See that crimson-skinned fellow? Huang Li, from the blazing Phoenix Universe Kingdom. I heard his law of fire has already crossed the threshold, and his world-burning furnace secret technique instantly killed several geniuses in the 9th stage of the domain. He then pointed in another direction. That's Yu Meng, who follows the path of an illusionist. His illusions are incredibly bizarre and unparalleled, and it's said that even geniuses who have comprehended the law have fallen prey to his tricks. Next to him is Xing Hen, a genius from the Qinglin Universe Kingdom, with a profound understanding of the law of space. Mocha rattled off names, pointing in different directions, his tone carrying deep apprehension. Each of these guys is much stronger than I was during the preliminaries. They are all aiming for the top 100 in the entire universe. Indeed, very strong. Qingyu's voice remained calm, but in the depths of his eyes, a spark of a challenger's flame quietly ignited. However, this generation is indeed much weaker than Luo Feng's generation in the original novel. Qingyu compared silently in his mind. Just as the millions of geniuses were either chatting, observing, or secretly competing, an irresistible will, like the voice of the cosmic law itself, suddenly echoed in the mind of every genius, clear, grand, and authoritative. All participants, gather at the central plaza. The moment the voice fell, no matter where they were in the plaza, whether at the edge of the buildings or in the center of the plaza, an irresistible spatial force instantly enveloped everyone. Swish. As if space-time had shifted, all 1,000,000 geniuses appeared in the plaza, forming orderly phalanxes, and the 1008 leading Undying also appeared in front of the formations. Above the plaza, space rippled like water. A figure stepped out from within. Dressed in an ancient, simple cyan battle robe, his face was so handsome it seemed otherworldly. His forehead was covered with several delicate, shimmering scales with a mysterious purple glow, like a natural crown. He merely stood there, like the center of the entire universe. The million geniuses below, and even the undying spiritual gods leading their teams at the top of the buildings around the plaza, seemed to lose their radiance and become incredibly small before him. Welcome, all of you, to the Pinnacle Genius Battle, hosted by my Virtual Universe Corporation. I am Ninesword Exalt, the chief person in charge of this genius battle. Qingyu's heart jolted, and his pupils contracted almost imperceptibly. He remembered that Ninesword Exalt was a very young Exalt. Ninesword Exalt. It's actually him presiding over this generation. It seems the era of Luo Feng shouldn't be too far away. Ninesword Exalt's gaze, as profound as the star abyss, slowly swept over the dense, hushed million geniuses below. You are the elites who have emerged from 1008 universe kingdoms through layers of selection. Ninesword Exalt's voice was calm and unwavering. But the core of the Virtual Universe Corporation only recruits the strongest geniuses. We only need 1,000 people. The rules for the upcoming final battle are very simple. His words were concise and to the point. All of you will enter a trial space separately. Our Virtual Universe Corporation has prepared over 1,000,000 trial spaces for you, one for each person. There are 7 trial towers in each trial space. Each trial tower has 7 levels. Ellipsis. The first 100 ranked in points will be directly absorbed as core members by our Virtual Universe Corporation without further screening, securing 100 spots. Ellipsis. As for those ranked beyond 7,300, all will be eliminated. The breathing of the million geniuses in the plaza seemed to halt for a moment the instant Ninesword Exalt announced the cruel rules. However, the Virtual Universe Corporation did not give them any time to process their emotions or make last-minute preparations. Everyone, please prepare. A mass teleportation will commence shortly, sending all participants to their respective trial spaces. Ninesword Exalt's voice, like the cosmic law itself, echoed again, devoid of any emotion. The next moment, an unparalleled spatial force instantly enveloped everyone in the plaza. Swish. Space shifted, and the view became clear. Qingyu found himself alone, standing in an boundless void. Beneath his feet was a colossal asteroid, seemingly existing since ancient times. The only focal point on the asteroid's surface was the 7 towering giant pagodas majestically standing before him. Qingyu did not hesitate in the slightest, nor did he spare a glance at the virtual screen floating at the edge of his vision, displaying his identity and initial points. Participant: Qingyu, Qinglin Universe Kingdom. Points: 0. Ranking: none. Trial space: number 00100927. With a step, his figure transformed into a blurry stream of light, directly rushing into the first-level gate of the first trial tower. It has begun. Tisk tisk, these little ones this generation seem generally more nervous than the last. In the central plaza, in the floating spectator space, 1008 undying spiritual gods from different universe kingdoms sat in comfortable chairs, chatting in various postures. Look, Huang Li from the Blazing Phoenix Universe Kingdom has already cleared the first tower. What a fierce spear technique. Yu Meng is also good. The attacks of the Zerg Queen Mother on the 7th level of the first tower had no effect on her. Xing Hen from the Gulan Universe Kingdom is also very fast. His application of the law of space is quite skillful. The first tower poses no difficulty for him. Suddenly, a slightly surprised voice rang out. Qingyu from the Qinglin Universe Kingdom, his speed is so fast. Chapter 14 The Sixth Trial Tower. Upon hearing this, the Undying Ones all turned their gaze to the screen marked, Qingyu. On the screen, Qingyu's figure flickered like a ghost within the first trial tower. Each pause was accompanied by one or several subtle, almost imperceptible, destructive, glowing white threads flashing by. In the first trial tower, Qingyu did not use any abilities beyond the preliminary rounds standard. He relied solely on the first stage of Tribulation Divine Weapon, Chaotic Dance Silk, which he had already completely mastered, and the Myriad Thread Stream movement technique. He swept through it with overwhelming force, staying on each floor for an astonishingly short time. Many of the Undying Ones in the central plaza began to look serious. Such fast efficiency. His use of the first stage of Tribulation Divine Weapon is superb, and his psychic energy control precision is quite terrifying. Myriad Thread Stream combined with an Rumen-level understanding of spatial law, his movement technique perfectly complements the unparalleled attack of Tribulation Divine Weapon, leaving almost no weaknesses. In the second trial tower, the enemy types remained the same, but their strength soared. The charging force of the blood-furred mammoths was enough to shatter small mountains, and the venom of the nine-headed pythons was astonishingly corrosive. Yet, Qingyu's response remained effortless. In the third and fourth trial towers, Qingyu continued as before. He manipulated 9 chaotic dance silk like a torrential storm, and with the perfect coordination of Myriad Thread Stream, he pushed his speed and attack power to their limits. The discussions among the Undying Ones in the central plaza grew significantly louder, and more eyes focused on Qingyu's screen. He cleared the fourth trial tower too. Although his speed was a bit slower, it was still clean and decisive. 9 chaotic dance silk, combined with the spatial law movement technique, this time he'll at least make it into the top 10. He might even contend for first place. Congratulations, Ares. The female Undying from the illusory spirit universe kingdom spoke with a cool voice, but her evaluation was extremely high. Ares's expression shifted slightly, but his voice was helpless. His talent is acceptable, but he's too stubborn. He was referring to Qingyu's disregard for advice, insisting on simultaneously comprehending both spatial and temporal laws, a path widely considered difficult. However, Qingyu achieving a good ranking would also bring glory to the Qinglin Universe Kingdom, so Ares said no more. The fifth tower is the real test. I think he'll stop at the fifth tower. A slightly jarring voice rang out. Oh, Blackstone, you're not that optimistic. Yan Jin from the Blazing Phoenix Universe Kingdom sneered, flames flickering in his eyes. I bet Qingyu can pass the fifth tower. I think he can step onto the sixth tower. Care to make a wager? A bet it is. I bet Qingyu stops at the fifth tower. Let's make 1,000 mixed yuan units the prize. The Blackstone Undying snorted coldly. Good. I bet he passes the fifth tower. This Fire Dragon Nirvana stone of mine is worth about 1,000 mixed yuan units. Yan Jin threw out a crystal burning with flames. Since he's a genius from my Qinglin Universe Kingdom, I'll join in too. I also bet he can step onto the sixth tower. Ares's voice was not loud, but it was exceptionally steady and powerful, carrying an undeniable certainty. The moment he stepped into the fifth tower, the air seemed to condense into liquid metal, and heavy pressure rushed towards him. On the first floor, 10,000 blood-furred mammoths, their bodies entwined with almost substantial law power, charged forward, making space itself hum. However, they still posed no threat to Qingyu, who annihilated them all. Score plus 700 million. At this point, Qingyu's ranking was already first, and by a cliff-like margin, because other geniuses were clearing the trial towers too slowly. Other geniuses were greatly startled when they saw Qingyu's score. Score, 77.77 million. How long has it been? He passed the fourth tower. Oh my god, how long has it only been? Monster. Absolutely a monster. Among the other top-ranked competitors, the fastest, Huang Li, has only just passed the first floor of the fourth tower. Mocha, who had only reached the third trial tower, had knuckles turning white from exertion, his face filled with extreme shock. Qingyu, you really hid your strength well. Wait for me, I will definitely catch up to you. Yu Meng, Xing Hen, and other highly regarded top geniuses also looked solemn at this moment, their gazes complexly focused on that name, far ahead of the pack. Qingyu didn't get distracted by others. The subsequent second, third, and fourth floors saw combat intensity escalate exponentially. Several times, Qingyu found himself in perilous situations. PFF'd. Qingyu spat out a mouthful of blood, his body retreating rapidly, his chest aching intensely, his ribs seemingly fractured. His face instantly turned pale. The undying ones in the central plaza gasped. Look, he's injured. Myriad thread stream is ultimately not enough. The evasion space is too small under encirclement. He's in such a sorry state on the 4th floor of the 5th tower, it seems his limit is near. At most, he'll reach the 5th floor. The Black Stone Undying asserted. A full 1,000 cosmic exotic creatures, flying who, with cold killing intent flickering in their eyes, surrounded Qingyu, threatening to overwhelm him. Just at this critical moment, the flowing light disk beneath his feet glowed brightly. His figure, which had originally transformed into a stream of light, instantly split and blurred like a reflection in a mirror. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10. Finally, 18 indistinguishable illusions, almost identical in aura, suddenly appeared on the battlefield. Like silver lotus flowers blooming in an instant. What? 18 illusions. 9 thread stream. Everyone in the central plaza, including Ares and Yan Jin, watched the scene on the screen in astonishment. The Black Stone Undying was even more dumbfounded, unable to believe his eyes. The 18 illusions were incredibly agile, instantly dispersing the flying who's encirclement. The originally fatal concentrated fire was cleverly guided, shared, and even interfered with by the illusions. Chaotic dance silk. Qingyu's cold voice rang out. CHCHCHCH. The 4th floor of the 5th trial tower was instantly cleared. Monster, a true monster. The Undying from the ancient Wheel Universe Kingdom murmured. Ares and Yan Jin's eyes burst forth with unprecedented brilliance, while the Black Stone Undying's face immediately fell. I didn't expect this little fellow to still be hiding his strength. I, Black Stone, will honor my bet. Having reached the 9-thread stream level, coupled with the first stage of Tribulation Divine Weapon, Qingyu passing the 5th trial tower was no longer a big problem. Soon, the 5th tower, all 7 floors cleared. His score increased by 700 million, bringing Qingyu's total score to 777.77 million. The 6th trial tower. The first floor still had 10,000 blood-furred mammoths, but their strength had increased several times compared to the 5th trial tower, marking a huge turning point. Each blood-furred mammoth was the size of a stellar fragment, with liquid law armor flowing around its body, its aura shattering space inch by inch. When they charged, it was like billions of stars colliding. Qingyu's expression was extremely grave, each kill consumed immense power. Qingyu's illusions began to be constantly shattered by the terrifying spatial shockwaves. But he gritted his teeth and persevered, fighting a bloody battle, finally annihilating them all with great difficulty. Kill. I haven't reached my limit yet. End of chapter 15. The second level had a total of 10,000 nine-headed pythons, with countless gaping maws tearing at Qingyu, and snake tails containing the might of mountains lashing out at him. Qingyu faced a difficult struggle, and while constantly dodging, his right leg was caught by a stray attack. Crack. A clear sound of bone breaking. Ultimately, at the cost of his right leg instantly twisting and deforming, Qingyu killed all 10,000 nine-headed pythons. However, injuries would not recover within the trial tower, which caused Qingyu's right leg to throb with excruciating pain. His movements were greatly affected. Qingyu entered the 3rd level, where he had to face 1,000 warriors of the Tuoluo race. Their strength was vastly different from those in the 5th trial tower. It could be said that any one of these Tuoluo warriors could slaughter a genius at the 9th level of the domain. The moment Qingyu stepped into the 3rd level, 1,000 Tuoluo warriors simultaneously looked up, their cold gazes locking onto Qingyu. Without a single word, in the next instant, a silent metallic tsunami, carrying terrifying kinetic energy that tore through space, surged forward. The Tuoluo race were metal lifeforms. Their attacks were not only terrifyingly powerful, but their liquid metal bodies also possessed astonishing defensive capabilities. Qingyu's chaotic dance silk, like nimble snakes, stabbed at them, but could only leave deep indentations and dazzling sparks, finding it difficult to instantly penetrate their core. It required several threads to concentrate their attack on a single point to barely pierce through. This prevented Qingyu from quickly killing the approaching Tuoluo warriors, and he was instantly surrounded. Boom. Even if Qingyu had entered the 9-line flow, it was useless. Metallic heavy punches containing terrifying power simultaneously enveloped all 18 illusory bodies. Qingyu's true body could only turn around in haste, letting the unavoidable punch strike the tribulation divine weapon on his back. PFF'd. The immense force transmitted through the gleaming white longsword, and Qingyu felt as if he had been struck by a heavy hammer, his chest aching, and he once again spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, his entire body flying backward like a kite with a broken string. At this moment, all the other geniuses had already failed, and everyone stood in the central plaza watching Qingyu challenge the trial tower. It's over. Such defense and attack. If I were to face them, I probably wouldn't last even a single breath. The third level of the 6th tower is actually this terrifying. Qingyu seems to be about to lose too. The first stage of the tribulation divine weapon, chaotic dance silk, is difficult to directly break through their defenses. If this continues, he won't survive the next round of combined attacks. An undying from the ancient wheel universe kingdom declared in the undying viewing area. This kid is going to lose. A strange light flashed in Black Stone Undying's eyes. However, at the brink of life and death, Qingyu, still flying backward, his eyes were cold to the extreme, and also frantic to the extreme. Tribulation divine weapon, 2nd stage. Qingyu let out a low growl from his throat, like a wounded beast. The 9 chaotic dance silk, which were originally flexibly weaving, suddenly erupted with an unprecedented dazzling, gleaming light. Controlled by Qingyu, they were instantly retracted, no longer dispersing their attacks, but instead, as if controlled by an invisible giant hand, they instantly intertwined, wove, and braided around Qingyu as the center. Weaving void net. A colossal spatial net, composed of countless crisscrossing threads shimmering with destructive, gleaming white light, suddenly unfurled before Qingyu. This net formed a death domain with terrifying cutting, binding, and restraining power. Its scope was so vast that it instantly enveloped more than 100 Tuoluo warriors charging at the forefront. CHCHCHCH. The grating, dense sound of cutting, like the symphony of death, rang out. The Tuoluo warriors who rushed into the range of the weaving void net, their indestructible liquid metal bodies, were instantly cut, disintegrated, and shredded as if thrown into a meat grinder, before the net containing the power of spatial cutting origin. Tribulation divine weapon 2nd stage. Weaving void net. He actually managed to use it at the astral rank. Although it's still very difficult. The Undying exclaimed in surprise. Ares, this young fellow from your Qinglin universe kingdom is hiding a lot, first the 9-line flow, and now the 2nd stage of the tribulation divine weapon. Qingyu's use of the weaving void net was indeed quite strenuous, and he was still far from fully mastering it. He endured, controlling this massive net of death like a moving wall of slaughter, crushing toward the remaining Tuoluo warriors. The battle entered its most brutal and draining tug of war. Qingyu no longer sought perfect evasion, but instead used the weaving void net to withstand some attacks, trading injuries for lives. After an unknown amount of time, the last Tuoluo warrior was also completely engulfed and shredded by the massive weaving void net. Qingyu knelt on one knee, barely preventing himself from falling by propping himself up with the tribulation divine weapon. Oh my god, he passed the 3rd level. The gap is too wide, leaving everyone behind. Huangli only reached the 5th level of the 5th trial tower. The space shifted again, to the 4th level of the 6th trial tower. 1,000 flying Hu, not large in size but covered in dark silver streamlined carapaces, hovered in the air. Their compound eyes gleamed with cold spatial light, and each beat of their cicada wing-like wings left behind lingering, distorted spatial afterimages. Qingyu, already pushed to his limits, faced these 1,000 flying Hu, renowned for their speed, and immediately went all out. Reaching this level was pretty much his limit, so there was no need to hold back anymore. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The battle erupted in silence. Weaving void net. Qingyu wanted to envelop these flying Hu as he did in the previous level, using the weaving void net's power of strangulation and confinement to fight the enemy. Unfortunately, his control over the second stage was too weak, and these flying Hu possessed extreme speed. Absolute, overwhelming speed. Qingyu's not-so-flexible weaving void net could only envelop a few flying Hu at a time, while the other flying Hu took the opportunity to attack Qingyu. Even if I die, I'll kill more. Qingyu roared, controlling the tribulation divine weapon with all his might. Roar. A slightly larger flying Hu king, with dark gold patterns on its carapace, flashed a cruel light in its eyes. It made no sound, but its figure instantly vanished. When it reappeared, it had already pierced through Qingyu's weaving void net defense, its sharp front claws, gleaming with cold light, like the scythe of death, silently reaching for Qingyu's heart. He couldn't dodge. The cold touch of death instantly enveloped his soul. After all, it was. A trace of unwillingness flashed in the depths of Qingyu's eyes, then turned into calm. The sharp claws penetrated his chest without obstruction. Swish. Qingyu's figure disappeared from the 4th level of the 6th trial tower. The trial ended. In this level, Qingyu killed 105 flying Hu with all his strength, earning over 100 million points, bringing his total trial tower points to over 3 billion. The central plaza was silent, the top of the leaderboard read. Qingyu Qinglin Universe Kingdom with a terrifying score of over 3,070 million, ranked first. It was noted, failed on the 4th level of the 6th trial tower. Meanwhile, the second place Xinghen had less than 600 million points, and the third place Huangli only had over 400 million points. A nearly tenfold difference. He's terrifying. Qingyu, who appeared in the central plaza, was watched by millions of geniuses from various universe kingdoms, with various discussions swirling around him. He's Qingyu. I've never heard of him before. I can't believe he's so terrifying. Chapter 16 Trial 1. Congratulations, Qingyu. Mocha, who was quite familiar with Qingyu, congratulated him with a smile. I won't be able to catch up to you anytime soon, but I won't give up. Mocha had only reached the 3rd level of the 5th trial tower, but his fighting spirit remained undiminished. Keep it up. Qingyu encouraged him, but his heart remained calm. Only he knew that his talent would become more terrifying the further he progressed, and Mocha would only be left further and further behind him. Everyone returned to the building. A majestic voice suddenly echoed in their ears. It was the voice of Ares Undying. At this moment, all 1,008 undying beings stood in front of their respective universe kingdom teams, leading the 1,000 geniuses from their universe kingdom into their assigned buildings. In the lobby of Building 507, Ares Undying stood at the highest point, his gaze sweeping over the 1,000 geniuses of the Qinglin Universe Kingdom, lingering for a moment on Qingyu. Your performance this time was excellent, especially Qingyu and Mocha. Your trial tower integral rankings are 1st and 23rd respectively, directly earning you qualifications to enter the core of the Virtual Universe Corporation. Additionally, one more person entered the top 7,300 and can contend for the remaining 900 spots. As for everyone else, your journey in the genius battle ends here. You can return to reality directly, or you can wait for a period, and the virtual universe system will teleport you back. Qingyu, Mocha, the 3 of you, follow me. After Ares finished speaking, he disregarded the frustration and disappointment on the faces of the remaining geniuses and walked directly into an adjacent corridor. The 3, Qingyu, Mocha, and the other youth, quickly followed. At this time, in the Aurora Star region, the Aurora Empire. When the news of Qingyu securing the top spot in the trial tower, with a significant lead, spread like a supernova burst through the virtual universe network, the entire Aurora Star region erupted. Qingyu. It's our Qingyu from the Aurora Star region. Number 1 in the entire universe. How many years has it been since the Qinglin Universe Kingdom produced such a peerless genius? And he came from our Aurora Star region. The Aurora Emperor sat upon the throne in his magnificent palace, looking at the name at the top of the list on the light screen before him, a look of uncontrollable ecstasy appearing on his majestic face. Qingyu's rise not only brought glory to the Qinglin universe kingdom but also significantly elevated the status of the Aurora Empire, his birthplace. Proclaim my decree. The emperor's voice was resonant, carrying an undeniable authority. All Azure Scale Clan settlements in star systems belonging to the Aurora Empire are granted the highest level of autonomy and resource allocation. Furthermore, all apprehended and currently detained members of the Bloodfang Star Pirates are to be immediately escorted to the Azure Scale Clan homeworld, to be handed over to the Azure Scale Clan for their full disposal. This is a small token of the Empire's regard for His Highness Qingyu, and it must be executed properly. Ellipsis. At this time, in Building 507, Ares Undying led Qingyu, Mocha, and the other youth to a high-level quiet room. Ares first looked at the youth who had entered the top 7,300. Your ability to enter the top 7,300 proves that you are an elite among millions. However, the qualification battle is an even greater challenge. Your opponents are all formidable. Ares looked at him, his tone calm but encouraging. Remember, in a narrow path, the brave one wins. Use all your strength and wisdom to fight. Go, prepare well, and do not squander this opportunity. Yes, thank you for your guidance, sir. This junior will do his utmost. The youth stood up excitedly and bowed deeply. Only Ares, Qingyu, and Mocha remained in the quiet room. Qingyu, Mocha, he began slowly, his voice deep. Your rankings in the Trial Tower, especially your first place, Qingyu, are indeed something to be proud of. But I hope you haven't let this bit of glory go to your heads. He paused, his gaze sweeping over the two as if it were a physical presence. Although the core layer of the Virtual Universe Corporation recruits 1,000 people at a time, these 1,000 people will be successively divided into 4 mystical regions: Primitive Mystical Region, Highest Beginning Mythical Region, Heaven and Earth Secret Realm, and Doomsday Secret Realm. These 4 mystical regions differ greatly in terms of status, authority, obtainable resources, and the level of guidance received, like Heaven and Earth. Ares's tone was serious, and then he looked at Qingyu. Qingyu, with the absolute strength you displayed in the Trial Tower, winning first place in this final battle and entering the Primitive Mystical Region is basically a certainty. But remember, the arena battles are also a stage to show off, so do not take them lightly. You must secure the spot in the Primitive Mystical Region. Yes, Lord Ares. His heart, however, remained calm. Ever since he realized that the level of this year's Genius Battle was not high, his goal had already been the Primitive Mystical Region. Ares then looked at Mocha. In our judgment, entering the Heaven and Earth Secret Realm should be no problem for you, but I still hope you strive to go further and fight for an opportunity to enter the Highest Beginning Mythical Region. Yes, sir. I will do my utmost. Mocha's eyes blazed with lightning, and his fighting spirit burned fiercely. Furthermore, Ares's tone shifted, taking on a hint of solemnity. There is one person you must be highly vigilant of in the arena battles, do not be careless. Yumeng of the Illusionary Spirit Universe Kingdom. Ares said in a deep voice. She only ranked 93rd in the Trial Tower, barely making it into the top 100. But this absolutely does not mean she is weak. On the contrary, the mechanism of the Trial Tower is extremely unfriendly to illusionists. This caused Yumeng's ranking to be far lower than her true combat power. In actual combat, an illusionist's attacks are very strange. One careless mistake, and even a controller or warrior far stronger than them can be defeated instantly. Yumeng, an illusionist. Qingyu's heart stirred, and a hint of interest quietly flickered in the depths of his ice-cold eyes. He had taken Ares Undying's warning to heart. He naturally understood the terrifying nature of illusionists, he himself cultivated as an illusionist. Illusionary attacks are formless and intangible, and those with weak wills cannot even struggle. If I meet Yumeng in the arena finals, it would be interesting to see whose illusory techniques are stronger. All right. Ares saw that both of them showed solemnity and thoughtfulness, knowing that his words had taken effect. Everything that needed to be said has been said. You already have your spots, so you don't need to participate in the upcoming qualification battle. You can rest and adjust well, and prepare for the final slaughter. The next day, 7,300 geniuses gathered in the central plaza, and a familiar figure appeared in midair, Ninesword Exalt. The trial is over. The top 100 trial participants automatically qualify to enter the core layer of the Virtual Universe Corporation. Now, if anyone is unwilling, they can speak up. The Virtual Universe Corporation will not force anyone. A ethereal and majestic voice echoed in everyone's ears. The entire venue was silent. Very good. Ninesword Exalt nodded in satisfaction. Then, trial participants ranked 101st to 7,300th. You will engage in a qualification battle to contend for the remaining 900 spots. The Virtual Universe system will assign you optimal opponents. Those who win 3 consecutive matches will obtain a qualification. Let's begin directly. Ninesword Exalt swept his gaze around and spoke slowly. Chapter 17 The Final Arena Battle. Whoosh. The central plaza vibrated slightly, and the vast plaza instantly had only 100 people left, becoming empty. The arena battles for the 900 spots officially began. Winners advanced, losers were eliminated. It was incredibly cruel. No one wanted to miss the chance to join the Virtual Universe Corporation, one of the 5 peak powers. Everyone gave their all. The first round of 3,600 arenas ended in just a few minutes. After a half-hour break, the second round immediately began. A little over an hour later, only 900 arenas remained. Whoosh, whoosh. 900 excited young people suddenly appeared in the central plaza. They had passed 3 rounds of screening. Congratulations to you all. Ninesword Exalt's majestic voice echoed in the minds of the 1,000 people. You are the 1,000 most outstanding individuals in the entire universe from this genius battle. Welcome to the Virtual Universe Corporation. You will receive full cultivation here. Ninesword Exalt announced the exciting news with a smile, then his tone suddenly shifted. However, competition is the eternal law of the universe. I believe many of you have already heard that the core layers of our Virtual Universe Corporation are divided into 4 mystical regions. The treatment varies immensely. Now I announce. First, all 1,000 of you will qualify to enter the Primal Universe for comprehension. Those ranked 101st to 1,000th will receive a 10 mixed elemental unit bonus and can join the Doomsday Secret Realm. Those ranked 11th to 100th will receive a 100 mixed elemental unit bonus and can join the Heaven and Earth Secret Realm. Those ranked 2nd to 10th will receive a 1,000 mixed elemental unit bonus and can join the highest beginning mythical region. The first place winner will receive a 10,000 mixed elemental unit bonus and can join the primitive mystical region. Ninesword Exalt's gaze swept over the young, determined faces below, his voice ethereal and distant. Carrying an unquestionable finality, the arena decisive battles will begin tomorrow, which will determine your final rankings and destinations. The rules for the decisive battles have been sent to each of you. Prepare well. As his voice fell, Ninesword Exalt's figure instantly vanished. Qingyu immediately received the rule information, and its content was identical to what he remembered. The Virtual Universe system would select the strongest 100 individuals from the 900 newly promoted geniuses. These 100 individuals would then engage in one-on-one arena battles with the top 100 geniuses from the Trial Tower rankings, including Qingyu, Mocha, Huang-Li, Xinghen, and Yumeng. The 100 winners would qualify to enter the Heaven and Earth Secret Realm. Subsequently, the Virtual Universe system would directly select the top 20 from these 100 individuals for one-on-one battles. The 10 winners would qualify to enter the highest beginning mythical region, then battle each other to determine the first place winner of this session, who would enter the primitive mystical region. After reviewing the rules, a classic scene unfolded. Hundreds of geniuses instantly erupted in an uproar, expressing strong dissatisfaction with the Virtual Universe Corporation's arbitrary arrangement, especially the 800 who were not selected. They were essentially directly assigned to the lowest Doomsday Secret Realm. Why are 800 of us directly assigned to the Doomsday Secret Realm? This isn't fair. We also fought our way through 3 rounds of bloody battles. The Virtual Universe Corporation is too arbitrary. They don't even give us a chance to fight. If I didn't know the essence of the virtual universe, I probably would also think the corporation is arbitrary. But to directly throw a tantrum like this is truly foolish. Qingyu watched the protesting geniuses silently, shaking his head slightly. Enough. Ares Undying stepped out, standing in midair, his gaze like ancient ice. A cold, commanding roar, filled with supreme majesty and impatience, exploded like a thunderbolt from the 9 heavens deep within the soul of every protesting genius in the plaza. Dissatisfied. Think the rules are unfair. Feel wronged. Ares's lips curved into a cold, cruel arc. He had participated in the genius battle countless years ago, so how could he not know what these people were thinking? Naive. Ridiculous. What do you think the Virtual Universe Corporation is? His voice suddenly rose, carrying an indifference like looking down at ants. The genius battle, held once every 10,000 years, is merely the corporation's needle in a haystack screening. It's simply to scout for those rare, truly promising talents who might become powerhouses over the long river of billions of years. Looking at a single session, if even one of you 1,000 can become a marquis undying, that's considered extremely lucky. More often than not, the entire generation of geniuses will all perish in future adventures, battles, and secret realm explorations. As for you, Ares's gaze swept over the 800 protesters, his tone cold and merciless. You were merely batches of materials, waiting to be verified. You don't even have the right to be dissatisfied. What Ares said as the corporation's stance. A grander, more ethereal voice rang out, like the cold vacuum of the universe, swallowing all miscellaneous sounds. Accompanying Ninesword Exalt's voice, an indescribable, irresistible, terrifying will and pressure descended with a roar. The 800 protesters' legs went weak, and they all knelt down in unison. Those who are dissatisfied can withdraw now. The plaza instantly fell silent. Remember today, in the vast universe, to seek dignity, the only way is to become stronger. As his voice fell, the figures of the 1008 undyings also instantly vanished. Ellipsis. The next morning, the 1000 geniuses gathered again. The 800 from yesterday were now well behaved, no longer daring to show the slightest dissatisfaction. Ninesword Exalt appeared on time, looking down at everyone. Are you all ready? Then, the decisive battle begins. With a wave of his hand, 100 huge arenas appeared on the vast plaza, and Qingyu and the others were instantly teleported onto them. Qingyu maintained his straightforward attitude, instantly defeating his opponent with a single move, being the first to finish his battle. One-on-one battles were extremely fast, and moments later, all 100 battles concluded. Ninesword Exalt stood in midair, slowly speaking. According to the virtual system selection, I now announce the list of the top 20. Qingyu, Xinghen, Huang Li, Yu Meng, ellipsis. Olady, Reina, U20, take a half-hour break, then the next battle will begin. As Ninesword Exalt's words fell, the faces of the other unselected individuals were filled with unwillingness, and they gathered together, discussing in low voices. Yu Meng was actually selected. I remember her trial tower ranking was only in the 90s. Forget it. Heaven and Earth's secret realm it is. I will prove that I am not weaker than them. About half an hour later, only 10 of the 100 arenas on the plaza remained. Qingyu and the other 20 were instantly teleported onto the arenas. On arena number 1, a tall, slender young man holding a long sword stood opposite Qingyu, currently looking dejected. How unlucky am I, O lady, to directly encounter Qingyu, now the highest beginning mythical region is hopeless. Meanwhile, the other geniuses on the other arenas, whose nerves had been taut, actually relaxed, a hint of relief even flashing across their faces, simply because there was an insurmountable gap between Qingyu's strength and theirs. Facing Qingyu was almost equivalent to an early declaration of defeat. Chapter 18, Complete Victory. After adjusting for a moment, Olady took a deep breath, the frustration in his eyes quickly replaced by a resolute determination. He suddenly looked up, staring directly at Qingyu, and declared in a clear voice. Qingyu, I know I am no match for you, but please, attack with your full power just this once. Let me, Olady, truly experience the gap between us. Even if I lose, I will have no regrets. As you wish. Qingyu's voice was flat, yet it clearly reached Olady's ears. You go first. If I make the first move, you won't have a chance. Olady's pupils constricted slightly, a chill running through his heart. He had no doubt about the truthfulness of Qingyu's words. Without the slightest hesitation, the longsword in his hand instantly glowed with dazzling light. Starfall, Annihilation Stab. Olady roared, his figure transforming into a streaking light that tore through space. Man and sword united, carrying a tragic, unyielding momentum, directly piercing towards Qingyu. Just as Olady's sword tip was less than 3 meters from Qingyu's glabella, and the sharp sword energy was almost severing Qingyu's silver hair on his forehead. Buzz. 9 ethereal white threads, almost completely imperceptible to the naked eye, appeared out of thin air. Time seemed to freeze for a millionth of a second. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. The 9 chaotic dance silk, with incomprehensible speed and trajectory, completed hundreds of intersections, stabs, and divisions within an inch of space. At the very instant Olady's destructive streaking light, man and sword united, arrived. Swoosh, Olady's attack was instantly disintegrated. He himself was also cut into countless pieces in the next second. Arena 1, Qingyu wins. The other geniuses watching, despite being mentally prepared, were still shocked by this scene. They had originally thought it would at least take a few moves, and Olady had even unleashed his strongest attack, yet he was still defeated in a single move. Monster. This isn't even a battle on the same level. The battles on the other arenas also ended one after another, but the process was far less shocking than Arena 1. Soon, 10 victors were decided and stood in the center of the square. Ninesword Exalt's majestic figure reappeared in midair, looking down at the 10 geniuses below, his voice grand. Congratulations, all of you, for entering the top 10 of this year's Genius Battle. In half an hour, the top 5 will be decided from among you 10. And the final first place will emerge from these top 5. The rules for the 10-5 matches are as follows. The virtual system will rank you by the time you won your previous battle. The fastest winner will fight the slowest, the second fastest will fight the second slowest, and so on. Qingyu was undoubtedly the fastest to finish his previous battle, and his opponent was Huang Li. Almost simultaneously, a tall young man with strangely crimson skin suddenly looked up towards Qingyu, a smile uglier than a cry on his face. It was Huang Li. Damn it, I should have finished the battle quickly at all costs earlier. Huang Li regretted in his heart. Although everyone had almost tacitly agreed that this year's first place belonged to Qingyu, who wouldn't want their own ranking to be higher? Half an hour passed in a flash, and 5 giant arenas rose again. Qingyu and Huang Li were teleported to one of them. Huang Li took a deep breath, suppressing the bitterness and powerlessness in his heart. His eyes became sharp as blades. The long spear in his hand, wreathed in crimson flames, caused the surrounding temperature to rise sharply. Qingyu, take my strongest spear, world-burning furnace. Huang Li roared. This was his secret technique, combining his initial comprehension of spatial and fire laws, and its power far surpassed Olady's Starfall, Annihilation Stab. Clang. Huang Li's attack was indeed more than a notch stronger than Olady's. Approximately, it lasted 3 seconds longer. But it was only 3 seconds. Winner, Qingyu. After the battles on the other arenas concluded, Ninesword Exalt reappeared. His gaze lingered on Qingyu for an imperceptible moment, then he announced. The top 5 have been decided. In half an hour, the final ranking battles will begin. Each of you 5 will fight 1 match against the other 4. Win a match, get 1 point. The final ranking will be determined by the total points. The one with the highest points will be the ultimate first place in this genius battle. In fact, including Ninesword Exalt, there were also 1008 Undying who had already decided in their hearts, this year's first place belonged to none other than Qingyu. The subsequent battles were already largely superfluous. The final ranking battles quickly began. Qingyu's battles were utterly without suspense. Xinghen, Mocha, and Asan, another who made it into the top 5, were all swept away, without any suspense. Qingyu seemed to be merely completing a predetermined task, calmly reaping victories. Finally, it was time for the last match, Qingyu versus Yumeng. Yumeng, a woman with an ethereal and mysterious aura, wearing a dark blue long dress, was widely recognized as the strongest illusionist of this generation. She stepped onto the arena, facing Qingyu, her eyes burning with intense focus and a faint, almost impossible glimmer of hope. Qingyu. Yumeng's voice was ethereal and pleasant, yet filled with resolve. I know you are very strong, but the path of illusion is unpredictable. This is my only chance to create a miracle. Please guide me. As her voice fell, Yu Meng's eyes suddenly became incredibly deep, like two dark whirlpools devouring souls. On the mental plane, in the invisible realm of soul confrontation, Yu Meng had poured all her strength into unleashing her strongest killing move, Illusion Moon Secret Art, Sinking. A pure and powerful illusionary attack, like an invisible tide, instantly crossed space, directly rushing towards Qingyu's sea of consciousness. Yu Meng's move, among the astral rank, has reached perfection, and Undying nodded slightly. Unfortunately, she met Qingyu. On the arena, a sudden change occurred. Qingyu, who had been standing still, calmly looking at Yu Meng, seemed to have an extremely subtle, almost imperceptible fluctuation flash through the depths of his eyes. And Yu Meng, who had launched the attack, her deep, dark blue eyes that seemed to be burning with her soul, suddenly lost all their luster the moment Qingyu's eyes subtly moved. Her body also completely stiffened in place. The geniuses watching were instantly bewildered, completely unaware of what had happened. They only saw Yu Meng finish speaking, stare at Qingyu, and then she seemed to be under a paralysis spell, completely motionless. What's going on? Why isn't Yu Meng moving? Her illusion has controlled Qingyu. She should quickly attack with her psychic weapon. Qingyu calmly looked at the stiff Yu Meng opposite him, and with a thought. A subtle, almost completely transparent, ethereal white thread silently appeared, instantly sweeping past Yu Meng's defenseless body. Yu Meng's stiff figure was cut in two the moment the chaotic dance silk swept past. It wasn't until her figure reassembled outside the arena that Yu Meng's empty eyes suddenly regained a trace of luster. Her body trembled violently, her face instantly turned ashen white as paper, her lips quivered, and her eyes were filled with a sense of defeat. She didn't even realize how she had been hit. Chapter 19 The King's Reward. Hiss. A collective gasp echoed across the plaza. It wasn't until Yu Meng was teleported down and revealed her terrified expression that most of the geniuses belatedly realized what had just happened. Illusion. It was an illusion clash. My heavens. Yu Meng was countered by Qingyu's illusion. He's actually an illusionist too. And stronger than Yu Meng, who specializes in illusions. Exclamations and incredulous discussions instantly erupted. On the high platform, the expressions of those undying powerhouses finally changed. He instantly broke Yu Meng's illusion, and Yu Meng had no room to resist against his illusion. An Undying said with a grave tone. What terrifying soul will. His breaking of Yu Meng's illusion was as easy as brushing away a speck of dust. This kid, he hid too deeply. Not only is he a peerless genius in space-time laws, but he also possesses such terrifying attainments in illusions. Another Undying's eyes flashed with brilliance, filled with surprise. Ninesword Exalt was also watching. His expression remained calm and unruffled, but in the deepest part of his profound eyes, a hint of extremely subtle displeasure was revealed. Cultivating both space-time laws is already exceedingly rare. Now he even cultivates illusions and has reached such a profound level. Ninesword Exalt's displeasure became increasingly clear. He who grasps at too much loses all. Distracting oneself with other things, wanting to dabble in everything, will ultimately lead to mediocrity in all and a descent into the mundane. He had presided over too many genius battles and seen too many initially promising geniuses who, due to distractions during their growth, eventually faded into obscurity. Qingyu. 4 victories, 4 points. Ninesword Exalt announced the result, while secretly thinking, I should remind this little fellow later. This session of the Universe Human Peak Genius Battle, the final first place, Qingyu. This session of the Peak Genius Selection Battle concludes here. Soon, specialized personnel will contact you to take you to the headquarters of my Virtual Universe Corporation, and then, to the Primal Universe. Afterward, Ninesword Exalt and the 1008 Undying disappeared. As for the 1000 geniuses, they were quickly guided to leave their specific coordinates in the real universe within the Virtual Universe system, so that the Virtual Universe Corporation could arrange for spaceships to pick them up. Qingyu quickly wrote down the coordinates of Qinglin main star and then exited the Virtual Universe. A moment later, Qingyu's figure reappeared on the Virtual Universe's exclusive Aurora Island. The intelligent assistant's notification sound immediately rang out, and several messages popped up. The first message stated that the remaining members of the Bloodfang Star Pirates had been fully captured and escorted to the starfield controlled by the Azure Scale Clan, awaiting Qingyu's final disposition. Simultaneously, Realm Lord Qingming also sent an email confirming the matter and inquiring about Qingyu's wishes. Qingyu's eyes were cold, and his reply was without the slightest hesitation. Execute them all. These star pirates, whose hands were stained with blood and who threatened his clan, deserved to die. The second message was from the Virtual Universe Corporation. It had to be said that the Virtual Universe Corporation's efficiency was truly high. The spaceship they arranged would arrive at Qinglin main star in 10 days to pick him up. The Primal Universe, the legendary primordial Chaos City, I'm finally going to set foot in it. A hint of anticipation arose in Qingyu's heart. Along with this message was the reward for first place in this session of the Genius Battle, 10,000 mixed element units, which had been fully deposited into Qingyu's personal account. 10,000 mixed element units. Qingyu's wealth alone now far exceeded the Azure Scale Clan's accumulation over countless years, by dozens or even hundreds of times. Qingyu was not one to forget his roots. He contacted Realm Lord Qingming, intending to leave 100 mixed element units for the clan as a foundation and guarantee for its development. However, Realm Lord Qingming almost instantly refused. Realm Lord Qingming's voice, filled with gratification, came through the virtual communication. Qingyu, the clan has received your kind intentions, but keep all this wealth for yourself. You are now the true hope of the entire clan, and you need this wealth more. As for the clan, you don't have to worry at all. Since the news of your winning first place in the universe came, the Aurora Imperial family's attitude towards our Azure Scale Clan has changed dramatically. Resources, trade, protection, everything is developing in the best direction. The wealth you leave behind is far less important than the protection your own strength provides to the clan. Cultivate with peace of mind, the clan is proud of you. Qingyu did not insist on this matter and looked at the next email. It was from Nimesword Exalt. This email carried an invisible majesty, with direct and stern wording. Qingyu, first, congratulations on winning first place in this genius battle. Are you very proud now? Very arrogant. But I tell you, your talent among countless members of the primitive mystical region is only mid to upper tier. And yet you are so greedy, not only cultivating both space-time laws but also delving into illusions. This Exalt solemnly warns you, 1. Abandon the illusionist path. 2. Focus on either space or time laws. The path of a genius lies in specialization. Do not waste your talent. Looking at this stern email, filled with an undeniable tone of instruction, Qingyu's expression was calm, but his eyes grew even more resolute. Cultivating both space-time is difficult. That's for others. Qingyu's heart was undisturbed. I will soon break through to universe rank. A breakthrough in a major realm is a leap in the essence of life. Both soul and body will undergo a baptism. At that time, my law affinity will greatly increase. Most crucially, my talent amplification will increase from 4 times to 8 times. 8 times the comprehension speed amplification. This was his greatest confidence in daring to cultivate both space-time laws. As for the illusionist path, according to his original plan, at least during his time in the primal universe, his core energy would inevitably be entirely focused on space-time laws. The path of illusion was already intended to be temporarily set aside. Qingyu looked at the 4th email, which was from Lord of Qinglin Kingdom. Lord of Qinglin Kingdom, like Nimesword Exalt, first advised him to specialize in one path, otherwise he would regret it later. Besides the advice, Lord of Qinglin Kingdom also gave him a reward, an annotation of the secret technique, Tribulation Divine Weapon, Qingkin Ninefold Tribulation. Qingyu was slightly pleased in his heart, immediately accepted and reviewed the annotation. The content of the annotation was indeed profound and mysterious, with every word a gem regarding the use of the Tribulation Divine Weapon. However, as he delved deeper into the browsing, a trace of almost imperceptible regret flashed in Qingyu's eyes. In fact, although the Tribulation Divine Weapon was a divine weapon that combined space-time laws, it did not strictly require the user to advance both space-time laws simultaneously. Most users primarily cultivated space laws while secondarily cultivating time laws, or vice versa. Those like Qingyu, who strived to advance both space-time laws equally from the very beginning, were extremely rare. And the annotation given to him by Lord of Qinglin Kingdom was based on the interpretation of the Tribulation Divine Weapon's secret technique from the perspective of primarily cultivating space laws. What a pity, Qingyu thought to himself. But it's better than nothing. The application of space laws can also be used as reference, which will greatly enhance my use of the Tribulation Divine Weapon. Chapter 20, Tianyihu, please read. Qingyu sent solemn thank you emails to Ninesword Exalt and Lord of Qinglin Kingdom respectively. 10 days later, in the outer space of Qinglin Main Star, a streamlined spaceship, resembling a drawn sword, quietly descended. The spaceship was about 600 meters long, its surface gleaming with a cold, dark silver metallic luster. The emblem of the Virtual Universe Corporation was inscribed on its hull, radiating an aura of efficiency and undeniable power. The hatch slid open, and a team of figures in standard battle armor filed out. Leading them was an old man with a refined face and meticulously combed hair. Undying. Qingyu instantly sensed the vast, ocean-like, yet deeply hidden life aura emanating from him. Your Highness Qingyu, greetings, the old man said, his voice calm yet clearly penetrating, neither overly warm nor arrogant. I am Lu Jing. By order of the corporation, I am your temporary escort for this journey, responsible for accompanying you to the Virtual Universe Corporation headquarters. As an undying spiritual god, he did not need to grovel before an astral-ranked genius, but he naturally showed the appropriate respect and courtesy to a promising member of the primitive mystical region. Mr. Lu Jing, I will be troubling you this time, Qingyu said, not daring to be negligent, bowing slightly with a respectful yet composed demeanor. It is my duty, Lu Jing nodded slightly, a faint smile flashing across his face, clearly pleased with Qingyu's address and attitude. Your Highness, please board. The journey to headquarters is long, we shall depart immediately. Thank you, sir, Qingyu saluted again, then, at undying Lu Jing's signal, boarded the sword-shaped spaceship. Your Highness, it will still take some time to reach headquarters. Let me take this opportunity to guide you through the virtual headquarters of the Virtual Universe Corporation, Lu Jing said, entering the Virtual Universe network. First, please log in as well, Your Highness. Qingyu's figure first appeared on Aurora Island, but with his increased authority, he could now teleport to a special plane. Teleport. With a thought, the scenery changed dramatically. Qingyu appeared on a wide, white jade road, with clouds and mist swirling on both sides. In the distance, an unimaginably vast floating mountain stood majestically, its scale far exceeding any planet. Welcome to Rain Phase Mountain, Your Highness. Undying Lu Jing's figure appeared beside him, pointing to the giant peak as he introduced it. Rain Phase Mountain has a diameter of approximately 89,000 kilometers. The entire mountain is divided into 5 major regions. He pointed to the different regions vaguely visible in the clouds. The center is the public area, accessible to all core members. The 4 regions surrounding the public area correspond to the 4 mystical regions: Apocalypse Region, Heaven-Earth Region, Primordial Region, and Original Zone. The 4 mystical regions are similar in size, but the number of members varies greatly. And the Original Zone, Lu Jing's tone carried a hint of solemnity. The entire Virtual Universe Corporation, including Your Highness, has no more than 120 permanent members. The treatment for members of the original mystical region far exceeds that of other mystical regions, he continued. Just speaking of this virtual headquarters, every member of the original mystical region possesses an exclusive manor. Its diameter exceeds 1,000 kilometers. Not only that, Lu Jing added, the corporation will also assign undying spiritual gods as long-term mentors to you, who will reside in your manor and answer your questions at any time. Let's go, Your Highness Qingyu, I'll take you to the Original Zone first. The two walked along the white jade road and soon arrived at the outskirts of the Original Zone. An invisible barrier separated it from the other regions. Your Highness, I can only accompany you this far, Lu Jing stopped. I am merely a temporary escort for this journey and have no authority to enter the Original Zone. Qingyu nodded understandingly. Thank you, Mr. Lu Jing, for escorting me all the way. It is my duty. Please enter, Your Highness, there will be someone to receive you. Lu Jing nodded slightly. Stepping into the original zone, not far from the entrance, a woman in a silver robe with a serene demeanor had been waiting for a long time. Upon seeing Qingyu, she immediately approached. Your Highness Qingyu, welcome to the original mystical region. I am the administrator of the original zone, Your Highness may call me Adeline. Hello Adeline, please lead the way to the manor first. Qingyu nodded slightly. Please follow me, Your Highness. Soon, amidst the clouds, the outline of a manor so vast it was breathtaking appeared, its diameter indeed exceeding 1,000 kilometers. Your Highness, this is your original zone manor, Adeline introduced. The manor is fully equipped with facilities, and the guard team has already moved in. Outside the main gate, tens of thousands of people stood in neat formations. At the very front was a tall, stern-faced man in dark gold battle armor, his aura as deep as a prison. Your Highness Qingyu, this is Marquis Tianyi. He is the teacher assigned to you by the corporation, and he is also responsible for your safety, Adeline quickly introduced. Qingyu greets teacher Tianyi. Qingyu's heart tightened, and he quickly bowed respectfully. The pressure of a marquis-level undying, even if only a virtual projection, made him feel as heavy as a mountain. Your Highness Qingyu, I shall take my leave now. Further matters will be informed to Your Highness by Marquis Tianyi. Adeline tactfully withdrew. Follow me. Marquis Tianyi looked at Qingyu, his voice flat, betraying no emotion, and his steps were exceptionally swift, leading Qingyu directly into the manor. The manor covered an extremely vast area, but the core residence was merely an elegant small villa. The remaining expansive areas were either training grounds or used for secret technique practice. Inside the villa, Marquis Tianyi stopped. His gaze, like a tangible entity, fell upon Qingyu, his voice low and steady, as constant as the movement of stars. Qingyu, I have thoroughly reviewed your genius battle records. As the mentor assigned by the corporation, he had already meticulously analyzed every one of Qingyu's battles. You have initially grasped both the law of space and the law of time, and your application is acceptable. His tone was without any ripple, as if stating an established fact. But do you know that cultivating both space and time laws simultaneously is a dead end? Without talent that appears once every 10,000 epochs, forcibly treading this path often leads to nothing in the end. Marquis Tianyi's words were clear and cold, devoid of any emotional embellishment. Countless individuals more astonishingly talented than you have fallen on this path. His gaze seemed to penetrate Qingyu's soul. If you give up now and specialize in one path, with your talent, coupled with the corporation's resources and my guidance, becoming a marquis-level undying in the future is not difficult. This is the wisest, and indeed, the only stable choice. Qingyu is grateful for teacher's painstaking efforts, but this disciple's mind is made up, and he is determined to try this path. Qingyu could not explain his talent amplification, so he could only respond with the firmest stance. Marquis Tianyi silently watched the young man with the determined eyes before him, a few moments of silence passing. The Virtual Universe Corporation respects every core member's choice of their own path. His voice returned to a calm tone, yet carried a heavy weight. Since you are so insistent, he paused slightly, his gaze profound. Then, as the mentor assigned to you by the corporation, I, Marquis Tianyi, will fulfill my duty and wholeheartedly guide you. As for whether the end of this path is reaching the peak or falling into the abyss, it all depends on you. Chapter 21 Breakthrough to the Universe Level. Regarding Marquis Tianyi's words, Qingyu solemnly agreed. He had never thought of entrusting his future to others anyway, and it was already very good that Marquis Tianyi was willing to teach him with all his might. Now, your most urgent task is to break through to universe rank, Marquis Tianyi continued. The Virtual Universe Corporation's core training system truly begins at universe rank. This disciple could have broken through long ago, but I've been suppressing it to participate in the genius battle. Then go break through first. Come find me immediately after you break through. Half a month later, inside a cultivation chamber within a spaceship rapidly traveling through the universe, Qingyu sat cross-legged, calming his mind. His life aura fluctuations reached a critical juncture. he released the suppression on the 9 scorching cores within his body, which had long been ready to burst forth. Boom! The 9 miniature stars rotated wildly in an abstruse and unpredictable trajectory, instantly erupting with terrifying devouring power. Cosmic energy surged into Qingyu's body like 100 rivers returning to the sea. The volume of the 9 cores expanded wildly at a visible speed. In just a few breaths, they had swollen more than 10 times over. Break! A silent roar echoed from the depths of Qingyu's soul. Rumble! The most central and massive star was the first to succumb to the extreme power, collapsing inwards and exploding with a roar. The chain reaction instantly detonated the other 8 stars. His sea of consciousness transformed into a chaotic star sea purgatory. Countless star fragments, stardust, and clouds churned, rotated, and collided wildly in the explosive maelstrom. After an unknown period, countless star fragments and nebular dust slowly began to gather and spiral around a gravitational singularity. A vast and magnificent spiral galaxy was born in Qingyu's sea of consciousness. At the heart of the galaxy was a tiny black hole. Surrounding it were 8 enormous spiral arms, extending from the dark core, exhaling wisps of pure energy. Universe rank achieved. Qingyu opened his eyes, feeling the surging power within his body. What made him even happier was that the fluctuations of the universe's fundamental laws had never been so clear. My talent amplification has increased 8 times. This 8-fold amplification was applied to his affinity for laws, which had already undergone a qualitative leap after his breakthrough to universe rank. The breakthrough from astral rank to universe rank is a transformation of life's essence. The ability to perceive and comprehend the laws of the universe naturally improves. Now, with this 8-fold real-time amplification superimposed, it can only be described as terrifying. It is worth mentioning that Qingyu's talent amplification is always an amplification based on the current foundation. Astral rank is amplified based on the astral rank foundation, universe rank is amplified based on the universe rank foundation, and so on. So, while it seemingly only doubled from the previous 4 times to 8 times, in reality, his efficiency in comprehending laws now is more than twice as fast compared to when he was at astral rank. It's more than 10 times faster. After calming his mind, Qingyu's consciousness immediately sank into the virtual universe. In the original zone, within Qingyu's exclusive manor, Marquis Tianyi's figure was already waiting, a gentle smile on his face. Teacher, Qingyu respectfully bowed. Not bad. I originally thought it would take some more time. It seems your previous accumulation was very solid. Marquis Tianyi nodded with satisfaction, his gaze sweeping over Qingyu. From now on, resources, secret techniques, and guidance will far exceed what you had before. But the direction and method are crucial. He directly pointed out the core of Qingyu's current cultivation. Your current cultivation has 2 core points: comprehension of the laws of space-time, and control over the tribulation divine weapon. Among them, law comprehension is the foundation. Marquis Tianyi pointed in the void, and a light screen appeared, displaying a large amount of information. I recommend you exchange for this secret technique, myriad tribulations. This secret technique mainly explains the core profound meanings of the first 3 diagrams of the Universe Chaos Tablet, containing a total of 270 secret techniques, progressing layer by layer to expound on space-time. Marquis Tianyi paused slightly, then added. As for what the Universe Chaos Tablet is, you will naturally know when you arrive at the primal universe. Myriad Tribulations is divided into 3 major levels. The first level, 18 secret techniques, foundational entry into the laws of space-time. The second level, 54 secret techniques, in-depth analysis of the mysteries of space-time changes. The third level, 198 secret techniques, expounding on more profound truths of space-time. If you can thoroughly study these 270 secret techniques, your comprehension of the laws of space-time will far exceed what it is now, easily killing 100 of your current self. The spaceship still needs a 3-year journey to reach the company headquarters. These 3 years are precious time for you to lay a solid foundation. Marquis Tianyi looked at Qingyu, his tone calm but unyielding. My requirement for you is, within 3 years, you must master 9 of the 18 basic secret techniques in the first level of Myriad Tribulations. This is the minimum requirement. If you cannot achieve it, then give up this path early. As for the cultivation of the Tribulation Divine Weapon, Marquis Tianyi continued. This is key to transforming your law comprehension into combat power. The Tribulation Divine Weapon, secret technique annotation bestowed upon you by the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom, although focusing on space laws, contains application techniques for the Tribulation Divine Weapon that you can fully learn. Your current control over the Tribulation Divine Weapon is very crude. Once you master the techniques within, you will find that even when wielding the first stage, its power will be much stronger than what you can achieve now. This disciple understands. Qingyu nodded solemnly. He was well aware of his current talent and had 100% confidence in meeting Marquis Tianyi's requirements. Very good, Marquis Tianyi was pleased with Qingyu's attitude. Go, exchange for myriad tribulations, now. After exchanging, immediately begin comprehending it. If you have any questions, you can ask me at any time. I look forward to seeing your results in 3 years. Qingyu assented but did not act immediately. Teacher, this disciple has one more question to ask. Speak, Marquis Tianyi looked at him. During the final arena battle of the genius competition, this disciple encountered Yumeng's illusion attack. Qingyu recalled his battle with Yumeng. This disciple forcibly broke through the illusion with willpower at the time, but I cannot rely on willpower to resist every time in the future, so this disciple wants to exchange for a soul defense secret technique to cultivate. Does teacher have any suggestions? Not cultivating a soul defense secret technique before was not due to Qingyu's laziness, but because such secret techniques were extremely precious and rare, their value far exceeding other secret techniques of the same rank. Qingyu had no access to such secret techniques before, nor did the Azure Scale Clan. The Virtual Universe Corporation's treasury was the only place he could currently access such secret techniques. Marquis Tianyi's eyes flashed with approval upon hearing this. It's very good that you can proactively think of this. Soul defense is of utmost importance. He pointed in the void again, and a new light screen of information appeared. You don't have many points right now, so I recommend you exchange for Thissa 7 Soul Bell, secret technique. Although it's not the most top-tier soul defense secret technique, it's sufficient for your current stage and you won't need to consider replacing it for a long time in the future. Chapter 22, Rapid Progress. After respectfully bowing, Qingyu returned to his study. With a slight thought, the exclusive treasure trove interface for core members of the Virtual Universe Corporation opened. A vast sea of information rushed forth, with a dazzling array of categories: secret techniques, divine weapons, battle armor, rare treasures, life fruits, technological weapons, special resources, all encompassing and mesmerizing. However, Qingyu's goal was very clear. Search for the secret technique, myriad tribulations. The light screen flickered, and information about the myriad tribulations secret technique appeared. Created by Yi Yun, it was a basic cosmic-style secret technique, explaining the first 3 diagrams of the Universe Chaos Tablet, requiring 1800 points for exchange. Only 1800 points. I'm a member of the primitive mystical region, so I get a 30% discount. It only costs me 1260 points. What a bargain. Exchange. Transaction successful. 1260 points deducted, balance 98,740 points. As the undisputed first place in this genius battle, the Virtual Universe Corporation directly rewarded him with 100,000 points. Immediately after, Qingyu continued without pause, search for the Soul Defense Secret Technique 7 Soul Bell. Exchange directly. Transaction successful. 10,500 points deducted, original price 15,000 points, balance 88,240 points. Secret techniques, as a form of knowledge, are very convenient to trade in the virtual universe, but it's not like simply sending an email. Instead, it's like reality where someone delivers it to your door, only much faster. As soon as the transaction completion prompt sounded, a call request from Administrator Adeline instantly popped up, and Qingyu connected. Good day, Your Highness Qingyu, Adeline's gentle and respectful voice came through. I just received the secret technique manuals that were delivered and need Your Highness to personally sign for them. Wait a moment, Qingyu responded, flying out of the manor. A moment later, Qingyu walked back into the manor, carrying 2 large suitcases. Qingyu immediately opened the box labeled, Myriad Tribulations, inside which were neatly arranged 270 thin silver metal booklets, each recording a secret technique. Qingyu's eyes sparkled with anticipation as he picked up the topmost one and immersed his mind within it. Next, it's time to continue my arduous cultivation. As soon as he entered the state, Qingyu was immediately shocked by its exquisitely brilliant method of explanation. The profound mysteries of the laws, vast and abstruse, were like a heavenly book, often only understood intuitively but difficult to articulate, and even harder to systematize. So that's how it is. It can be understood this way. Qingyu's eyes burst forth with an unprecedented brilliance. This senior, Yi Yun, is truly a peerless genius. He actually dissected the profound mysteries of the first 3 diagrams of the Universe Chaos Tablet, like a butcher dismembering an ox, using 270 secret techniques, progressing layer by layer and systematically. If Qingyu's previous comprehension of the laws of space-time was like fumbling forward in a fog, then this Myriad Tribulations was like a lighthouse illuminating his path forward, not only pointing the direction but also clearly marking every cornerstone beneath his feet. Many previously vague sensations, laws he knew but didn't understand why, now became clear and well organized. Qingyu immersed himself in it, ravenously, forgetting the passage of time, absorbing this supreme crystallization of wisdom at an astonishing speed. Whenever he encountered a difficult bottleneck, he immediately sought guidance from Marquis Tianyi. As the mentor assigned by the company, Marquis Tianyi himself was an undying marquis on the path of space-time laws. His guidance was often incisive, hitting the core directly, clearing the fog for Qingyu and doubling his efficiency. Time quietly slipped away in focused cultivation, and 2 months later, teacher. Marquis Tianyi's gaze swept over Qingyu as usual, and he nodded slightly. What questions do you have now? Disciple has successfully mastered the first secret technique of Myriad Tribulations, and wishes to ask teacher to help verify it, Qingyu said calmly, as if stating an ordinary matter. Marquis Tianyi's originally calm expression suddenly froze. What did you say? The first secret technique, you're sure you've mastered it? It's only been 2 months. Marquis Tianyi's face was filled with pure, unbelievable shock. 2 months. In his estimation, for Qingyu to even initially understand its principles would be considered extremely perceptive. Based on his previous assessment of Qingyu's talent, mastery, that was simply impossible. Disciple is certain. I have already mastered it. Qingyu's tone was resolute, and his eyes were full of confidence. Please, teacher, verify. Good. Demonstrate it for me right now. Marquis Tianyi's eyes burst forth with an unprecedented sharp light, even carrying a hint of eagerness and scrutiny that he himself had not noticed. The two came to the secret technique practice space, with Marquis Tianyi standing on one side of the space, his aura deep and unmoving like a mountain. Take out your weapon and use the first secret technique, base point pierce, with all your might against me. With a thought, a simple, ancient long spear, dark and silvery gray, appeared in Qingyu's hand. Qingyu was originally a pure psyker master, but Myriad Tribulations creator, Yi Yun, was a martial artist who used a spear, so his Myriad Tribulations was naturally a spear technique manual. For the best comprehension, Qingyu also chose to practice this secret technique with a spear. Teacher, disciple apologizes for the offense. Qingyu's eyes instantly became incredibly focused. He didn't use any flashy moves, just a simple, direct thrust of the spear. Buzz. This spear thrust was fast, accurate, ruthless. It perfectly displayed the true essence of space-time, condensed to a single point, of base point pierce. Marquis Tianyi extended his index finger, his fingertip enveloped in even more profound and abstruse space-time law fluctuations, precisely tapping Qingyu's spear tip. Pop. With a faint sound, like a thin spatial membrane tearing, Qingyu's spear thrust was easily neutralized. Marquis Tianyi withdrew his finger, and when he looked at Qingyu again, Marquis Tianyi's eyes blazed with light, and the shock on his face had long been replaced by immense delight. Base point pierce. It truly is base point pierce. And he has grasped its essence. Good. Marquis Tianyi praised repeatedly, his tone filled with warmth and joy. Qingyu, I greatly underestimated you before. Your comprehension of the laws of space-time far exceeds my expectations. To master, base point pierce, and grasp its essence in 2 months. Good. Excellent. Qingyu felt Marquis Tianyi's genuine excitement and praise, and respectfully said. Disciples' progress is entirely due to teacher's meticulous guidance and the exquisite brilliance of the myriad tribulation's secret technique. No matter how good a secret technique is, it depends on the person. Marquis Tianyi waved his hand, his smile growing wider. The harsh requirement I set for him earlier, to master the first 9 secret techniques in 3 years, was originally intended to let him hit a wall, then retreat in the face of difficulty, recognize reality, and then specialize in one path. Marquis Tianyi paced a few steps, seemingly calming his inner shock. I never expected this boy to master the first secret technique in just 2 months. Could it be that he truly is well suited for the path of dual cultivation of space-time? Let's wait and see. I hope this boy can truly give me a surprise. Marquis Tianyi stopped, his gaze fixed on Qingyu. Although you have now mastered the first secret technique, remember not to be complacent in the slightest. The myriad tribulation's secret technique becomes more profound and abstruse the further you go. The more solidly and thoroughly you master it, the more steadily and further you can walk your future path. Chapter 23 3 Years Seeking Follow-up Reading. So, I hope you will be stricter with yourself. Don't be content with just meeting my requirements, strive for the ultimate. Marquis Tianyi exhorted with a solemn tone. This disciple will bear my teacher's teachings in mind and will certainly give my all, Qingyu said calmly, his eyes steady, without the slightest hint of arrogance. Qingyu once again immersed himself in day-to-day cultivation. Holding the dull, silver-gray long spear, his figure was like a pine, his aura condensed, as he practiced the myriad tribulation's secret art again and again. His spear strikes were sometimes like sudden thunder, sometimes like flowing water, and sometimes they solidified in one place. His movements had long shed their awkwardness, the essence of the space-time law flowed naturally with his fluid motions. After each practice session, he would close his eyes and concentrate, meticulously refining every detail, striving for perfection. The myriad tribulation's spear art was the key to comprehending the origin of the space-time law, but Qingyu never forgot his true core combat technique, the tribulation divine weapon. Thanks to the Lord of Qinglin Kingdom's annotation of the tribulation divine weapon secret art, Qingyu revisited and recultivated the first stage, chaotic dance silk. Now, chaotic dance silk, perfectly mastered. Condense. Qingyu's mind stirred slightly. The 81 circular blades instantly transformed into a series of streaks of light, interweaving to form 9 invisible threads full of destructive cutting power. Compared to the genius battle period, the cutting intent was several times sharper, operating incredibly smoothly, without the slightest stagnation. This was the true form of chaotic dance silk. Immediately after, more circular blades flew out from the luminous white longsword, forming even more threads. Weave. Qingyu's eyes narrowed. Weaving void net, perfectly mastered. A huge, intricate, 3-dimensional silver light net, covering the entire training area, instantly materialized. It not only possessed stronger cutting power than chaotic dance silk but also had powerful spatial binding force. Moving within the net was like being stuck in a quagmire. Qingyu also did not neglect the soul defense secret art, the 7-soul bell. This 7-soul bell had a total of 7 realms: Boulder Realm, Cold Iron Realm, Flowing Copper Realm, Profound Silver Realm, Crimson Gold Realm, Star Pattern Realm, and Amethyst Realm. At this moment, within Qingyu's sea of consciousness, an ancient bluestone giant bell, filling the entire sea of consciousness, enveloped his 8 suspended arms. As Qingyu cultivated, the original rough bluestone texture was slowly fading, replaced by the cold luster of cold iron. This was the second realm of the 7-soul bell, the Cold Iron Realm. Qingyu's talent in soul cultivation was astonishing. He invested the least amount of time but progressed the fastest. He mastered the Boulder Realm and Cold Iron Realm in a very short time, and Qingyu was confident he could even master the third realm, the Flowing Copper Realm, within half a year. Ellipsis. 3 years passed in a flash, and Qingyu spent them in fulfilling cultivation. His current strength had undergone earth-shattering changes. Inside Qingyu's private training ground in the original zone, Qingyu calmly gave an order to the void. Simulated battle, set opponent, 10, Qingyu's. Combat power setting. My strongest combat power at the end of the genius battle 3 years ago, with mental energy and genetic energy raised to universe rank stage 1. Setting confirmed. Simulation generating. Generation complete. Battle, commence. The cold system voice fell. Buzz, buzz, buzz. 10 figures identical to Qingyu instantly appeared around the field, surrounding him. These 10, Qingyus, had empty, cold eyes, devoid of any emotion. Kill. The 10 simulated bodies erupted simultaneously. Piercing sword hums echoed through space. Swish, swish, swish. Space seemed to be torn apart. Countless silver lights shot out from 10 directions, instantly interweaving in the air to form a chaotic dance silk light net full of cutting power. The 10 light nets overlapped, like a net from heaven and earth, intending to completely shred the Qingyu in the center. At the same time, a eerie light flashed in the eyes of the 10 simulated bodies. 10 illusionary waves stacked together, like an invisible mental tsunami, fiercely crashing towards Qingyu's soul origin. The illusionary technique arrived first, piercing into the depths of Qingyu's sea of consciousness like a sharp cone, striking the dark, flowing copper bell. The phantom of the copper bell trembled slightly. Dong. A deep, resonant bell chime, as if capable of stabilizing the soul, rang out. The third realm, flowing copper realm, was indeed extraordinary, even 10 combined soul attacks failed to shatter it. However, the combined soul impact of 10 attacks was simply too terrifying. Qingyu's consciousness felt as if it had been struck by a giant hammer, instantly falling into a blank state, and his body stiffened for a split second. By the time Qingyu recovered, the 10 attacks were already upon him. The cold sensation of cutting almost touched his skin. HMPH. Qingyu's pupils suddenly contracted. Hundreds of clear, solid phantom bodies, like silver lotus flowers blooming instantly, incredibly flickered and maneuvered within the tiny spatial gaps. This allowed Qingyu to narrowly pass through the deadly nodes where the light nets intertwined, appearing on the relatively weaker side of the encirclement. Weaving void net, open. Qingyu roared, and the luminous white longsword behind him hummed softly, as hundreds of circular blades shot out like streaks of light. A 3-dimensional silver light net, far more exquisite, powerful, and expansive than the light nets controlled by the simulated bodies. Instantly unfurled. The movements of the 10 simulated bodies immediately stalled, as if they had fallen into a quagmire, and one of them was instantly killed. However, the remaining simulated bodies cooperated with each other, with every 3 simulated bodies grouping together, their eyes empty but their movements precise, simultaneously exerting force and concentrating their attack on the same node of Qingyu's weaving void net. I've been waiting for you. A cold light flashed in Qingyu's eyes. He had been waiting for the opportunity when the opponents would gather to break the situation. Time scar cocoon, bind. Qingyu's weaving void net suddenly contracted, wrapping the 3 simulated bodies, along with the space around them, into a constantly compressing 3-dimensional cocoon, layer upon layer, like wrapping a silkworm chrysalis. Shred. The 3 figures were instantly cut into countless tiny fragments. But Qingyu also paid a price. The other 6 simulated bodies, having broken free from the weaving void net's restraint, took advantage of the opening when Qingyu was casting Time Scar Cocoon. 6 silver threads silently cut in from 6 tricky angles. Qingyu's hundreds of phantom bodies erupted again, attempting to dodge. However, the distance was too close, and one of the silver threads grazed his left side by a hair's breadth. Rip. A complete left arm was severed at the shoulder. Kill. Qingyu endured the severe pain, his figure advancing instead of retreating, and once again cast Time Scar Cocoon to envelop 3 of the simulated bodies. The battle entered a white-hot stage. 10 minutes later, Qingyu had killed all 10 simulated bodies, but he himself paid the price of an arm and a leg. Who, restore my body. Qingyu lay on the ground. Not bad. Marquis Tianyi's voice rang out from the viewing platform. He slowly walked down, a very complex expression on his face. 3 years ago, I would never have imagined that you could, in such A short time, not only comprehend the essence of the first 12 secret arts of myriad tribulations but also utilize the first 3 stages of the tribulation divine weapon to such an extent. Chapter 24 Arrival. It is because of teacher's excellent guidance, pointing me in the right direction. I merely tried my best to move forward. Qingyu stood up, his tone steady and filled with respect for Marquis Tianyi. He knew his rapid progress over the past 3 years was inseparable from Marquis Tianyi's guidance. With your current performance, this trip to the primal universe, I'm afraid it will make many people look sideways, and even greatly surprise them, Marquis Tianyi said, a hint of imperceptible satisfaction flashing in his eyes. Marquis Tianyi then changed the subject and continued. However, do not become complacent. The difficulty of comprehending the last 6 of the 18 secret techniques in the first level of the Myriad Tribulations secret technique far exceeds the total of the previous 12. But you don't need to rush now. You can wait until you reach the primal universe, and with the help of the Chaos Tablet, then go to comprehend those last 6 secret techniques. It will be twice as effective. Qingyu listened attentively. He bowed again. This disciple understands. Please rest assured, teacher, this achievement is not enough to satisfy this disciple. Go, Marquis Tianyi waved his hand, a gentle smile on his face. You should be arriving at the corporation headquarters soon. Yes, teacher. Qingyu then exited the virtual universe. 3 days later, inside the large spaceship, Qingyu lay comfortably, chatting with Lu Jing, an undying spiritual god. Your Highness Qingyu, we are about to arrive at the corporation's all-universe headquarters. Finally, we're almost there. Qingyu felt a touch of anticipation. In fact, with the flight speed of an F-class spaceship, it wouldn't take 3 years to get from the Qinglin Universe Kingdom to the corporation headquarters. However, the Virtual Universe Corporation adjusted the navigation speed to ensure that all 1,000 geniuses arrived at the headquarters at roughly the same time. At this moment, the intelligent assistant on the spaceship had already begun to prompt. Initiating cosmic shuttle, entering the primal universe. Countdown starting. 10, 9, 8, 2, 1. The entire spaceship vibrated slightly, returning to normal after more than 10 seconds. External view simulation 100%. Lu Jing called out to the intelligent assistant. Qingyu immediately looked outside, and a shocking scene entered his eyes. Not far from the spaceship, a vast supercontinent floated in the void. Although he was mentally prepared, Qingyu was still stunned. This continent was too big. Qingyu noticed the light dots, smaller than dust, orbiting the continent. Those were stars. Your Highness Qingyu, you must be awestruck by the corporation headquarters. Lu Jing said with a smile from the side. Mr. Lu Jing, the corporation headquarters is too big, it must be over 10 light years across. Although Qingyu's brain and soul had been strengthened by the primal force in this life, this did not allow him to recall everything he had seen in his previous life. That's right, the headquarters continent is several tens of light years in diameter. Qingyu admired the magnificent headquarters continent built by the corporation. The spaceship continued to fly for about half a day before finally reaching one of the headquarters' docking ports. The spaceship landed, and Qingyu and Lu Jing were the first to fly out, followed closely by the other guards. At the docking port, several reception envoys in standard silver battle armor were already standing by. The leader, seeing Qingyu, immediately stepped forward and bowed. Your Highness Qingyu, I am here by the Venerable's command. Your Highness, please follow me. Qingyu nodded slightly, then turned to Lu Jing and said solemnly. Mr. Lu Jing, thank you for the trouble of escorting Qingyu here these past 3 years. Qingyu is immensely grateful. It is my duty, Your Highness, no need for politeness. The road ahead is long, please take care. Lu Jing's stony, stern face showed a hint of a smile as he nodded slightly. Thank you for your kind words, Mr. Lu Jing. Qingyu nodded in thanks again, then turned his gaze to the waiting reception envoy. Please lead the way. Under the guidance of the reception envoy, Qingyu left the bustling docking port area and was soon led into a huge circular hall. At this moment, hundreds of young people with various temperaments had already gathered in the hall. They were conversing in groups of 3 or 5, they were the other geniuses who had arrived at the headquarters at the same time as Qingyu and were about to enter Primordial Chaos City. The moment Qingyu stepped into the hall, his distinctive silver hair and profound, tranquil demeanor immediately drew attention. "Qingyu." A familiar voice rang out, accompanied by hearty laughter. The burly Mocha strode over and clapped Qingyu on the shoulder with force. "You finally made it, you rascal." Huangli also walked over to greet Qingyu. Qingyu's lips curved into a faint smile as he greeted them one by one. "Mocha, Huangli." He also nodded in acknowledgement to Xinghen and others who were looking their way. "Qingyu." Yu Meng lagged half a step behind, walking closer to Qingyu, her gaze resting calmly on his face, her voice like a clear mountain spring. "Yu Meng, long time no see." Qingyu looked at Yu Meng and smiled slightly. Yu Meng was a member of the Blue Wave race, with faint blue-green patterns on her face. However, these patterns did not make her appear fierce, instead, they accentuated her fair skin and exquisite, beautiful features. Originally, Qingyu and Yu Meng were not very familiar. And because Qingyu had defeated her using her most proficient illusion technique in the arena back then, he had thought Yu Meng wouldn't be very fond of him. However, over the past 3 years, whenever Qingyu had free time, Yu Meng would come to him to discuss illusion techniques, and the two had grown increasingly familiar. Last time in the virtual universe, you mentioned the overlapping of multiple illusions. I did some deductions, and I think it could. Yu Meng went straight to the point, her cool tone carrying a hint of seriousness. After speaking, Yu Meng stared at Qingyu with star-filled eyes, a hint of elusive inquiry and expectation in them. Qingyu nodded slightly, a thoughtful light in his eyes. "A good idea, that is indeed, an ingenious angle. Perhaps we can try next too." A unique atmosphere, difficult for outsiders to intrude upon, instantly formed between the two. "Hey, hey, hey." Mocha scratched his head exaggeratedly, looking at the two who had started discussing illusion techniques the moment they met, and couldn't help but interject. "I say, you two, can you consider the feelings of us, mortals? We've only been cultivating for 3 years, finally getting a break, and you're already discussing these headache-inducing things again." Huangli also chuckled from the side, winking. Exactly, Qingyu, Yu Meng, your academic exchanges are a bit too frequent, aren't they? Every time we meet, it's like this, putting a lot of pressure on us." He deliberately emphasized the words, academic exchanges, looking back and forth between Qingyu and Yu Meng with a mischievous glint in his eyes. Yu Meng seemed not to hear Huangli's teasing, but a faint, fleeting blush seemed to appear on her fair earlobes. Qingyu ignored their teasing and instead said to Yu Meng, "Let's rest for a bit first. Once we're settled, we can verify it in detail." Yu Meng softly assented. The four sat together and began chatting, the content revolving around their cultivation experiences over the past 3 years and their expectations for comprehending in the primal universe, among other things. After waiting for about another half a day, all 1,000 geniuses finally arrived. Chapter 25, Choosing the Chaos Monument. An invisible pressure suddenly descended. The entire hall instantly became silent. A man shrouded in a simple white robe, with a pair of eerie red eyes, appeared at the front of the hall. His gaze swept over everyone, and his hoarse voice echoed in their minds. "Everyone's here. Follow me." After speaking, the red-eyed man turned and left. The 1,000 geniuses dared not delay and immediately followed. They soon arrived at a huge, enclosed docking area, where a very large, oddly shaped spaceship was parked. Oh my god. A G-class spaceship. Among the 1,000 geniuses, there were many from prominent backgrounds, and they couldn't help but exclaim when they saw the spaceship. Only beings beyond undying can afford such a spaceship. This statement caused a suppressed uproar. The red-eyed man was unfazed, leading everyone directly into the spaceship. "Everyone on board. Hurry." Inside the spaceship, a figure stood with his hands behind his back. Merely standing there, an invisible aura filled the entire space, making all the geniuses who entered the spaceship feel their breath catch. He wore a green robe, had purple scales, and his gaze was calm yet seemed to contain the birth and destruction of the universe. It was Ninesword Exalt, who was presiding over this year's genius battle. "Exalt." The red-eyed envoy respectfully saluted. The 1,000 geniuses also quickly bowed in unison. Exalt. Ninesword Exalt nodded slightly, his gaze sweeping over everyone, lingering briefly on Qingyu before moving on. Depart, for the primal universe. This journey, however, was completely different from any Qingyu had experienced before. Not long after, a feeling of disorientation and distortion suddenly struck. Ah! Thud. The entire spaceship echoed with pained gasps and the sound of bodies falling to the ground. Over 90% of the geniuses turned ashen, clutching their heads in agony and kneeling on the ground, some even fainted. Outright. Qingyu's face was also pale, and fine cold sweat beaded on his forehead. He felt as if he had been thrown into a high-speed blender and was being churned. This sensation lasted for 5 or 6 minutes before slowly receding like a tide. The primal universe has arrived, Ninesword Exalt's calm voice resounded. Upon hearing this, everyone immediately rushed to the spaceship's observation windows. Outside the window was a dim, vast world. Hazy primordial chaos chi slowly drifted like a thin veil in the void, filled with an ancient, primitive aura. The space here was like fragile cloth, occasionally tearing open with hideous gashes. At the edges of these tears, countless crystal-clear threads of law, flowing with strange secret patterns, were clearly visible. Such clear origin laws. Qingyu's pupils contracted slightly. He didn't even need to deliberately comprehend. Merely by looking at those flowing secret patterns, numerous insights ignited like sparks, instantly becoming incredibly active and clear. The universe, like stars and planets, also has birth, growth, aging, and an end. Ninesword Exalt slowly began, his voice echoing in the silent spaceship. This primal universe is in its nascent stage, constantly perfecting itself. It is precisely because of this that the universe's origin laws are manifest here, incredibly clear. Your comprehension of laws here will yield twice the results with half the effort. His gaze swept over the young faces filled with shock and longing, then his tone abruptly shifted. Primordial Chaos City is ahead. That will be your residence and training ground for the next 30 years. But I must warn you, Primordial Chaos City is not an absolutely safe greenhouse. It harbors opportunities, but also dangers. I hope that when I return to pick you up in 30 years, all of you are still alive. The spaceship slowly descended, docking above Primordial Chaos City. The 1,000 geniuses, with complex emotions, flew out of the spaceship one after another, landing on the mottled stone-paved streets of Primordial Chaos City. Follow me. The voice of the Primordial Chaos City guide envoy rang out. The guide envoy was a bald man. As he led everyone along the wide streets, he introduced the rules and precautions of Primordial Chaos City. Look at those small buildings. The envoy pointed to the ancient-style small buildings on both sides of the street. On the rooftops of many small buildings, various human figures sat cross-legged, but without exception, they all exuded a vast, ocean-like powerful aura. These are the powerhouses cultivating here, many of whom are champion undying spiritual gods. Remember, do not disturb their meditation. If anyone dares to disturb them, you will only be expelled from the primal universe, ending your comprehension. The envoy continued to explain. Remember, if the doors of these small buildings are pale white, it means they are uninhabited, and you can choose one as your residence. Each person can only choose one dwelling. After walking for about an hour, a strict mansion over 300 meters tall appeared at the end of their sight. That is the City Lord's mansion. The envoy stopped, his expression incredibly solemn. Finally, and most importantly, listen carefully to this rule and engrave it in your souls. Within Primordial Chaos City, any form of infighting is strictly prohibited. No matter how deep your grudges are, no matter your background. If you dare to fight within the city, you will surely die. No one can save you. Understood. The 1,000 geniuses responded in unison. The envoy nodded and continued to lead everyone towards the City Lord's mansion. Now, I will take you to choose a chaos tablet. Each of you has one free opportunity to comprehend it. They soon arrived at the entrance of a dreamlike corridor. On the walls on both sides of the corridor hung 52 enormous paintings. These 52 paintings are each an imprint from a true chaos tablet. You have half an hour to view these paintings. Then decide which chaos tablet you want to comprehend. Each person can only choose one. Begin. Upon hearing this, the 1,000 geniuses flocked to the corridor, intently observing the paintings. Qingyu already had his target, the Universe Chaos Tablet, but out of caution and responsibility to himself, he still looked at every painting. I didn't expect that besides the Universe Chaos Tablet, the Yanshan Chaos Tablet and the Lanmu Chaos Tablet are also quite suitable for me, and even the Great Axe Chaos Tablet is very compatible with me. As soon as half an hour was up, the bald envoy walked from the outer perimeter of the corridor inwards, simultaneously asking each genius for their choice. Names were called out one by one. I choose the Mother Ancestor Chaos Tablet. I choose the Heart Trace Chaos Tablet. I choose the Dragon Walk Chaos Tablet. Qingyu silently considered his choice. Although the Yanshan Chaos Tablet and the Lanmu Chaos Tablet also expound on the laws of space-time, they each have their focus, one on space, the other on time. The Great Axe Chaos Tablet is the most inclusive, it has a certain degree of compatibility with almost everyone, but it does not primarily focus on space-time. The envoy quickly walked to Qingyu's side, his gaze falling on him. Which one do you choose? I choose the Universe Chaos Tablet.